What is up, team? And welcome back to the Technical Fowl podcast. As always, you're joined by the three of us. I'm Jack Anderson, one of your co-hosts, joined by JP to my right. Say what's up, JP.
What's up?
And then to my left, Sanders Oakley. How we doing today, boys?
Fantastic. Just got finished editing a couple TikToks this morning. Just downloaded not a new game. It's been out for like a week, so I'm a little late to it, but Arc Raiders.
I think a week counts as new.
Yeah, but like it's like very mainstream, so I don't be like, oh, I'm like on this new game you guys should try.
Sure.
But like it's been blowing up, and I've been watching a lot of people play it, so I decided I'm going to try it. I'm going to put in probably a couple hours tonight after we finish recording and I finish editing. But no, it's been a great day. It's cold, so I haven't really left the house. Great weekend since Sunday. Celebrated my brother's 21st birthday party with my family. Went to Lost Pizza last night, and if y'all ever go with me to Lost Pizza, do not let me keep eating. I think the last 3 or 4 times I've gone to Lost Pizza, I have not been able to sleep that night. I was up till about 3. I laid in bed for 3 hours last night, not able to sleep.
Brutal.
Because I just eat. It's so good. I can't stop
tasty.
eating it. And then my stomach is like, well, screw you. You screwed us, so now no sleep. So that's tough. But no, good weekend. And great start to the week so far.
Valid. JP?
We're doing all right.
Glad to hear it.
Times have been better. Times have been worse. But we're doing all right.
I'll take an all right. Man. Technical Fowl. It's so hard to say. Every intro, I'm like, welcome back to the Technical Fowl pod. It's a mouthful, man.
Technical Foul Pod is a mouthful.
I just can't technical. Like, it's really hard to punch that out, in my opinion. But we work on it, and we keep grinding. We'll get there.
Yeah,
maybe
we're only 85 episodes
Maybe
in.
by the 100th episode, Technical Fowl will really, really roll off my tongue.
We're like 3 weeks. No, sorry, 5 weeks.
That's so
although
much
with
time.
Christmas break,
That's so much
will
time.
slow down. We may not hit 100 until the spring. This is episode like after Christmas because we've got. Are you trying to do the math?
He's counting.
Today is episode 85. I don't know what we'll do over Christmas break. 3 episodes a week, maybe drop an episode. With travel and being at home.
We'll probably still do 3 a week, I guess, with the college football season slowing down. But we're hitting 100 before Christmas.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, most likely. But if we had to miss an episode or 2, I didn't know if it would end up putting us into early January. But it'll be around then. We'll do episode 100 on Christmas Day. How's that?
Sounds good. Yeah.
I'll be busy.
That's fair.
I as well. I don't think first Christmas with the in-laws I can pull a,
Oh yeah, let me just go do a podcast real quick.
Not that
3 hours.
Not that I would want to anyway.
No.
As much as I like y'all guys, kind of the last thing I want to do on my Christmas is stop the festivities and
Record a
go
3-hour pod.
podcast. Yeah.
Well, if Geno Smith gets traded or something, we have to. But
That's not news at this point.
it's also not physically possible.
Yeah. He could get cut.
True.
A little more likely, maybe. All right, Sanders.
Man, I still wish we'd done that video because everything I wanted to say has turned out to be right.
Tough. No one will know now. It's not out in the public.
The Raiders made a win now move, and now they are losing. Yes, go ahead.
What was your favorite moment from the NFL slate this past weekend?
The Chargers winning.
Okay.
I didn't get to watch a whole lot of the NFL slate because I worked a women's basketball game.
Yeah.
All afternoon Sunday, and then came and recorded a podcast and finished up in time to watch the end of the Chargers game. So, the Chargers getting a win over the Steelers. The Steelers, right? That's who we
Correct.
played? Yeah, that's what I thought. And that kind of met my goal of, I believe I said 2 wins in 3 games. Because we played the Dolphins, who I was like, we have to beat the Dolphins, and then we played the Colts and the Steelers, and if we can beat one of them, I'll feel all right. And I think we go into a bye now, or maybe the week after next. But we've got a bye coming up pretty quick.
It's the week after next.
It's a week after next. Do you know who we play this week?
In Jacksonville.
Okay. So I would also love to win that game. Maybe I said 3 out of 4, but yeah, it was nice to win that game because
Sure.
I was very the offensive line. Did you see the Pat McAfee bit? I don't know if this was real.
Yeah, I showed
because
you.
Did you send it to me?
Yeah.
Okay, I assume it was real, but there's
Sure.
every video I see now, there's a part of me that is like, this might be AI, but it was really funny. He was talking about the the Chargers offensive linemen and how they all rank at the bottom of the PFF grades for offensive linemen. Like 36 out of 36, 28 out of 28 qualifying guys. Like that's the entire Chargers O-line. But we still got to win, so that was cool.
Do you think y'all are going to make the playoffs now? Because last week you said you weren't making it.
Yes. Last week I said we wouldn't make it because injuries. We just weren't going to be able to win games down the stretch. But I'll say we'll make it. I feel like we've won enough games early in the season, which is important, that you can drop a couple down the stretch and still get a wild card spot.
Sure.
Even with the last 5 games being the Eagles, Chiefs, in Dallas for the Cowboys, the Texans, and at the Denver Broncos.
That is a awful stretch. What's our record right now? Is what
7-3.
7-3.
You have games against the Jaguars, Raiders, and then those last 5 teams.
So we could finish 9-8 and still in like
maybe, but
It'd be
at
close.
the same time, we have teams that are right there on your tail. You have Baltimore, who's sitting there at 4-5. Cincy will return Joe Burrow for Thanksgiving. Houston's 4-5. Jacksonville's 5-4. That's kind of a critical game next week because you lose that. Y'all both have 4 losses, and they have head-to-head. I don't think anything's guaranteed, but sitting at least comfortably.
You got to like where you're at now.
Yeah. I think if we
100%.
get to 9 wins and then you pick up 1 game in that 5-game stretch.
The race is really between the Chargers, Pittsburgh, the Houston Texans, the Jaguars, and the Ravens. And if you think somehow the Bengals can make a run, because I think you just have to believe at this moment the Bills and the Chiefs are going to make the postseason at worst, just as a wild card team, and at best they'll still somehow win their division. And there's just no way Denver or New England are going to get knocked out of the playoffs at 8-2, losing their division as well. So really, it's a race of, do you think the Chargers make the postseason over the Ravens, Texans, Bengals, Jaguars?
You didn't say Steelers because
One of those, Ravens or Steelers, are going to win the division. So I guess the Steelers, you'd actually want
Have
the
the
Ravens to
tiebreaker,
go
right.
win the division and have the tiebreaker.
Which
Yeah.
they're heavily favored to win the division.
the
Yes.
Ravens are.
Yes.
Crazy.
It's like minus 200 or something like that.
Yeah, they still play Pittsburgh twice.
Cool.
Yeah.
What was other favorite moments that y'all had?
2 of them will be talked about at a later time because they're in games we previewed. But I'll go and just give a brief. The Saints beating the Panthers was glorious, and I know that's got to be JP's favorite thing of the week. No? Wow. Okay. And then Travion Henderson finally getting going was massive. As a fan of the player and as someone that drafted him 3rd overall in the keeper league,
Traded up
traded up.
to get him 3rd overall.
I'd technically not trade up because I didn't give up a pick.
That's true, I guess. Yeah.
I just traded for that pick. Gave you Marvin Harrison Jr. And then drafted Travion 3rd and Ted McMillan 4th. But it was really good to see him finally get some activity. It only took the backfield being destroyed by injuries for him to get run as kind of the true running back 1, and he took advantage. And then also Achan, another running back going off. As a Texas A&M fan, gig him. He's my dog. He's so cold. And I don't know. It was nice to see him go off. He had like over 200 all-purpose yards, 2 long touchdowns. The engine of that offense as they pull off a kind of a stunner against the Bills. But what was your favorite thing of the week, JP?
Bears-Giants, the snow flurries.
Sure.
In Soldier Field. It was the 50th year anniversary of Soldier Field, and in typical Chicago fashion, snowing. That was a really, really good game as well. I just like the cold, barren, real grass field, the snow flurries flying. Everyone's, breathing the smoke.
Which game was this? Giants Bears.
Giants-Bears,
Yeah.
breathing the smoke out of their mouth because the air is so damn cold. That was my favorite. And then not seeing Jackson Dart get hurt, but seeing Jackson Dart lose another game.
Yeah, sure.
Dart ends up hurting his shoulder and his head, ends up going to concussion protocol again. But that's what happens when you decide to play like that, and they use him as much as they did in that way, running him so much.
And I think that's a good place to start our weekly takeaways, too, because it got announced today that Brian Dable has been fired as the head coach there. not too surprising. You feel like writing was on the wall as soon as they lost the Broncos game the way they did.
Mm-hmm.
To lose that one, Scattaboo goes down. But I just felt like we were just waiting till they lost a couple more games and they were going to fire him. And they were actually up in this game, but then Jackson Dart goes down. I've seen a lot of people being like, he's a rookie. The head coach needs to protect him better, which I don't know what he's supposed to do when Jackson Dart is using his body as a weapon.
Yes.
Out there like hurling himself like a spear. I don't agree with that, but still, he goes down and you lose again, and I'm not at all surprised he's been fired. I don't know if y'all have any takes on that.
Well, I also think in the Dart protecting himself, it's not like this shouldn't be something that's new to him. He was in a very similar position at Old Piss, where he would have been taught to protect himself, because if he goes down, there's questions going forward. Lane Kiffin is, to his credit, has been able to just put any quarterback in there and cook, but Dart in the same spot had to protect himself there, and so when he comes into the NFL and, like you said, throws himself like a spear at people, it was kind of due for him to get injured once again. The Dable firing had to happen. The people that I've talked to about it are people that just clearly don't know the sport, because they're saying, oh, well, why should he have been fired? It's not really his fault. The last 3 years, he started 2-7.
Yeah.
After a 7-2 start his first season, 2-7 to start the year. All 3 years, he's making the decisions on these guys, and he's making the moves on these players. As the decisions at quarterback is on him as much as it is on Joe Shane, their GM,
which they announced they're not firing him.
Yeah, he's gotten a lot of flack himself as well. The Giants kind of released like a little media thing and talking about how they traded back into the first round, like a mic'd up camera thing, trading back into the first round for Jackson Dart, but they used like a big quote from Joe Shane in that to try and protect him over protecting Brian Dable. But it had to happen at this point. With that kind of roster, even though the schedule is as difficult as it was, you have to go out there and win more games. You have to be more competitive.
Especially when you are being competitive, honestly, in a lot of these games. You have to steal some of them, and not even steal. I mean, in the Broncos game, it took a historical collapse to lose it.
Yes.
You have to finish the job in lots of these games, and you just weren't able to do that. So, anything about the Bears side of that game?
Well, the Bears, I think you have to give them credit for making that comeback, especially in that last 5 minutes. I think going forward, it'll be really interesting to see how does the Ben Johnson offense and that style of offense work as it gets colder, because Caleb was inefficient with it being cold. He was 20 for 36.
Sure.
And that's just, you think of the Lions offense, it's been staying on schedule, staying ahead of the chains, hitting you deep over the top, hitting you with trick plays, stuff like that. When they get behind, when Jared Goff is forced to throw when he's blitzed or it's 3rd and long, trouble. If Caleb's going to be inefficient, going to be 20 for 36, that's going to be a problem. They ran the ball well. They ran for 170 yards. So it's kind of a moot point, and Caleb was a big part of that. He had 60 yards, including the 2 big, the touchdown and then the big carry that set up the touchdown as well.
Yeah.
So he deserves credit for that. And if they continue to run the ball well, it may not matter, but 20 for 36 that could be a concern going forward.
And he's had inconsistency issues this whole year, which we expected to happen in the new offense, and just with him being a younger quarterback. So it's nice to be able to say we've had these issues in the passing game and inconsistencies and Caleb missing guys or guys not being on the same page. We've had those issues, and yet we're sitting at 6-3 with all that being said, and we're first in the division, and we still feel like we're growing and getting better as we progress. You got to be pretty happy with that if you're a Bears fan.
Did y'all already address my question from earlier about did Rome Odunze's dad win them that game? With his the Twitter beef that was going on, and then this game, Odunze gets 10 targets, 6 receptions, 100 yards, and a touchdown.
Very first pass of the game is like
very first.
Boom.
So is that a credit to Odunze's dad for getting the job done off the field?
I don't know, man. I think I know you're just joking, but I do like, in my opinion, Rome's easily their best weapon.
Yeah.
So let's feed your best weapon and let him put in the work. You
Right.
have other good pieces. The run game's working well. Luther
Mhm.
Burden's a nice young piece, but Odunze should be getting not necessarily 10 targets, but 7, 8, 9, 10. Props for me for starting at 7 and not the
Yeah,
number before
that's huge.
7. But you really got to keep him involved because he's also someone that can go win a one-on-one. So, yeah.
I think you have to give credit to Ben Johnson too to have the game like you had the week prior, where Dunze doesn't have a catch,
Mm-hmm.
come right to him immediately, get him
Yeah.
involved immediately. That is what good play callers do. They get their playmakers involved, especially early on. They have so many damn weapons that I think they're gonna they're really, really dangerous. I think playing in the outdoors may hinder them
Yeah.
eventually, and that's kind of going to be a problem. But like if they were to play at Detroit, at Los Angeles, the Rams, or at Tampa Bay in the postseason, I think they're really dangerous to win any of those 3 games.
Agreed.
Because with the weapons that they have, they can really be explosive indoors with Detroit and the Rams, and then with the Buccaneers, it's not going to be cold weather or any worse than 50 degrees. So I think going down as we get further into the season, we look at maybe those potential matchups, because if they're going to play in Philly, even if they're playing at home or playing like Seattle, I don't know how that's going to go given the weather, and then given how those teams in cold weather are just way better built to be physical and
Yeah,
win
100%.
key downs throughout the game, when the Bears need to have as many drives as possible to continue to find explosive plays down the field. It's kind of counterintuitive, but it's the hole that they've dug with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams as their head coach and quarterback. They chose to do that playing in Chicago, so they've got to handle that and they've got to deal with that.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really concern going forward. Cold weather, but also really they could be dangerous in a dome or in warm weather in the postseason.
Agreed. Concern level for the Buffalo Bills. They go beat the Chiefs. They turn around and drop an absolute stinker to the Dolphins, who are in the graveyard, so a dead team. They did not look dead on Sunday. Thought Tua played well. Jalen Waddle is handling the wide receiver 1 role very well. I talked about Achane already on the show, goes off. And then the Bills' offense just moved the ball fine, but multiple turnovers. Josh Allen throws a pick in the end zone. James Cook fumbles. Josh Allen fumbles. Not really forced turnovers either, just errors on the Bills, not protecting the football. Concern level 1 out of 10, Sanders.
I'm gonna still stick with not concerned. You still have a game against the Patriots to try and tie that series up. It is in New England, but I guess New England 8-2. You're 6-3. So it's not you're a couple games behind them, but you still play them a game. You still have a lot of opportunities ahead of you. Let me pull up their schedule because I am curious to see that Chiefs game. Do they have other of those high-end competitive matchups left on the schedule? They still have Tampa Bay and Philadelphia are probably the 2 biggest ones, and then at New England left on the schedule. But I'm going to still go with not too concerned. I don't know what's going on. It's just it doesn't make sense what's happening. Josh Allen.
I can make sense of it.
If you want to make sense of it, go ahead and explain
There are
it.
3 games that they lost. Josh Allen turned the ball over 2 times or more in each of those 3 games. They also turned the ball over as a team in each of those games as well, except for the Atlanta game. In the Patriots game, they fumbled the ball twice as well. And then in this game, James Cook has a fumble in the red zone. So that's what makes sense of it. And their wins, Josh Allen has just 1 pick among the games that they've won. And James Cook has been dynamic offensively as well.
Yeah.
And wins, James Cook scores, from a fantasy football perspective, 31 points per game. In losses, he scores 8. So if they run the ball and don't turn it over, which if any team runs the ball well and doesn't turn it over, they
You're
win.
in a good spot.
If they don't run the ball well and they turn the ball over, they lose. I'm not concerned at all because I think it's something for it to be Josh Allen, James Cook, your 2 leaders, especially offensively. I'd rather have my problems there early on because I trust them to fix that problem later on in the season. If it's like Kansas City, they overcame it. But if it's their receivers that year where they just continue to drop passes, we don't trust MVS and Juju to eventually start catching the football. To their credit, they still won the damn Super Bowl that year. That's all the credit to Mahomes. But that is something that can concern you going forward. I think with it being on Josh Allen and James Cook, it's not as concerning. They are kind of showing, though, that they, like I said, need so much of James Cook, and they need so much in that ground game. So if they don't get that in a game, how much can you rely on Josh Allen? But that's why he's Josh Allen. You hope that he can pull through for you. So I'm not concerned. I put it at a 4.
Did I say 3?
You didn't give a number.
Didn't give a number. Okay.
I would say 5.
Would you say 3?
I think I'd say 3.
Okay, 3, 4, 5. I'm not crazy concerned. I don't like a team that has Super Bowl aspirations to only have one avenue to win a game, and that is if James Cook is not running the football very well with the receivers they have, and I think that's where some of the turnover issues are coming, is you're having to ask Josh Allen to do a ton, and he can do a ton, but he also is eventually going to end up making a mistake or two in those moments, and the defense is not necessarily locked down by any means, so you're not going to win game after game if you have to rely on your defense.
I think their defense can be hit or miss.
Correct.
I wouldn't say, like, they're obviously not elite like Denver or
They're
Houston.
not the Commanders' defense, though.
They are not the Commanders' defense. They're not the Ravens' defense the first 5 weeks, which we'll get into in a little bit. But they shut down Carolina. They honestly shut down Kansas City last week.
Yeah.
And they just didn't perform this week.
Well, Achan's just too good, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Tua not turned. Well, he still
actually
turned the ball over.
He threw good picks, though, because he's going to throw picks. And so
Correct.
you want them to be the arm punt variety and not the...
The screen pass that gets picked and returned 40 or 50 yards.
Correct.
But I think they can still put together a defensive performance to win a game. They obviously can run the ball to win a game. And I still think they, with Josh Allen, have the ability to win a game where Josh Allen is just dynamic throwing the ball. I think of the first game of the season against the Ravens. That was Josh Allen threw for 394 yards.
Yeah, shout out the Ravens defense for that.
So I wouldn't say they're quite one-dimensional, but it does seem more often than not they have to go down that one dimension.
Yeah, it just, it gets so ugly when it's not working, I think is the biggest thing. Their losses aren't like, oh, man, you played well and, just didn't get it done. It's like, wow, y'all just got absolutely stonewalled. So that's tough to see. Another game, 9. You just talked about Baltimore's defense. Baltimore's defense has a pretty good day against 9. Or maybe it was JJ out there on the field. He didn't tap into his alter ego very well. But they won 27-19. And then coupled with the Steelers' loss to your Chargers, Sanders, they're it almost feels like their bad start didn't even happen from a playoff standpoint. Just like that, they erased.
Yeah, they're one game behind the Steelers now for first place
Yep,
in the
still
AFC
playing
North.
twice.
So
it's like, oh.
The lead the Steelers had 3 weeks ago is just non-existent
Correct.
at this point.
Back like we never left. Or at least that's kind of how it feels. Y'all's thoughts on that game?
Yeah, speak to the Ravens defense. So they are quickly doing what we touched on in their preseason preview, what they did last year. The first 5 games of this season, they gave up 35 points per game, 410 yards per game. Their opponents were 45% on third down. They had only 2 takeaways, and the opposing quarterback had 110 passer rating across those 5 games. In the last 4 games, they're giving up 14.5 points per game, just 330 yards, 30% on third down. They have 4 times as many takeaways, 8, and the opponent passer rating is 72.7. Are the Ravens turning it around defensively again? These are games against the Rams, Bears, Dolphins, and Vikings.
I would say so. I'm still not, going to proclaim they're an elite defense, but they're definitely turning in the right direction. They're no longer porous and like a wet paper towel out there.
By the way, that stat's going to look even better because the next 2 weeks they play the Browns and the Jets.
Correct. They'll be on the up and up, and those should be 2 more wins, and then you're right back above 500 with the kind of stretch run of the schedule left. So you really have to like that. And then for the Vikings, anything there, it's still just very much a mixed bag with 9.
I think you have to. I mean, you give the defense a ton of credit.
Sure.
Because they force. I think they forced 4 made field goals, and then Baltimore missed one. So 5 field goal attempts for that Baltimore offense that is really, really dynamic. Have to give them a ton of credit. JJ, he makes such like unbelievable, miraculous throws, and then he makes such head scratching throws and head scratching decisions. But we have to remember this is his 5th start ever as a quarterback.
Yeah.
He's essentially a rookie in his first 5 games of his NFL career. So the fact that he has at least the bright moments, I think helps a ton, and I think he's going to be good going forward.
Yeah.
He's having the head scratching moments because everyone does, especially in their 5th game as a NFL quarterback and an NFL starting quarterback. It sucks because that it's like with the Indianapolis Colts, they have a roster around them that is ready to win now, and because they let Sam Darnold walk, they're not winning now with the rookie quarterback essentially in J.J. McCarthy. So are you okay with that? Are you able to live with that as a Vikings fan? Are you able to live with that in the organization, on the roster as well? Because there's concerning moments, like when Justin Jefferson has the pick over him and then it's just kind of jogging and doesn't even try to tackle Marlon Humphrey, who's right in front of him.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, I think it's concerning going forward. But with the rookie quarterback, for them to be 4-5, him only having 5 NFL starts ever, I think they'll be fine going forward, but it does feel like a missed opportunity in this season.
Yeah, I really wish I could ask O'Connell straight up and be like, your thoughts as this progresses, this kind of experiment of moving on from Darnold and trusting the guy you drafted. Like, are you still fully bought in? Because it's so early, and it's tough with how well Sam Darnold has looked that there's already these questions. And I trust O'Connell a lot. I think he knows what he's doing. So I'll continue to back it for now, even if it's a mixed bag on the field. And then you mentioned JJ being a rookie. It's also not like he had to do much at Michigan. It was largely the run game, and he did make plays when he needed to, but I don't think a ton was put on his shoulders at Michigan.
And I think this is 4 starts for him. Did he have a start last year?
No, it's 4 then.
Yeah,
not
Yeah,
5.
So
he's
even
2-2 as a starter, like as a
500.
rookie. Like
Shout out 9.
I think that, I don't know, the 9 thing is crazy, but we don't have to talk about that.
Just a competitor.
Yeah, Jackson
Sure.
gets it. Chromie gets it in the chat.
Yeah.
Cromie, do you have actual thoughts though on the way JJ is playing? I'd love to hear that as well, though.
As our Michigan fan,
We can also pivot to his
yeah.
other team, his actual team, because he's a Michigan fan, and so he likes JJ, but he's a Texans fan.
Mm-hmm.
And they pull off a comeback win led by Davis Mills, and they win 36-29 at home against Jacksonville. Huge win. It was a have-to-have in terms of trying to stay in contention, in my opinion, even though they wouldn't have been like mathematically ruled out. Just one they really needed. Nico Collins got going. It was just that. I'm not going to say he was the offense, but there was a lot of Davis Mills basically being like, the ball's coming your way, and make a play, please. And he did, so shout out to him. It's interesting to see the defense finally doesn't really have a fantastic performance. You give up 29 points. But the offense is like, okay, we'll show up today and get a win. So,
Well, I mean, how much of the defense gave up the 29 points? Parker Washington did have a pick six.
True.
Or not pick six, a return
for a touchdown.
So they did only give up 22, but that is fair. I turn this completely on Jacksonville throwing this game away. You're up
Agreed.
19 going into the fourth quarter against Davis Mills. You're up 17-0. This is a divisional opponent's chance to put them down, put them away, put them out of contention, and you continue on your run for hopefully a postseason bid, and maybe able to keep Kansas City out with your head-to-head there, and they just didn't get it done. You give up 26 points in the fourth quarter.
Texans did their Bo Nix impression.
Yes, it looks really, really similar to that Giants-Broncos game and the way that it finished in the fourth quarter. I think some of the talk in Jacksonville has been that Liam Cohen is going to either like trade Trevor Lawrence or something, and he's going to get his own quarterback. They don't have a first-round pick next year, so they don't really get to decide on that with the Travis Hunter trade.
Yeah.
And today it was announced Travis Hunter had season-ending knee surgery. He has knee surgery tomorrow. Make that joke if you like, because he does. At Jacksonville, you can't punt this game away, and they've lost games like this as well, in this kind of fashion year after year. Not just Liam Cohen, but going back to Doug Peterson as well. They lose games this way, and that can't. Great teams don't lose games this way in a reoccurring fashion.
Yeah.
And so I think they have a lot of fixing up to do. And for 19-point lead in the fourth quarter, choking to Davis Mills cannot happen.
Yeah. I want to apologize to the Texans defense because you only gave up 213 yards. You almost doubled them up from a yard standpoint. So it actually really wasn't a bad day at the offense or defense. Is not surprising. But for the Jaguars, it really does feel like all momentum you had after beating the Chiefs is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Because you lose to the Seahawks and lose to the Rams right after, and we talked about it on the show, but it's like, all right, fine, you kind of split your tough 4-game stretch. And then you go beat the Raiders in a 1-point game. It's like, hey, we escaped with the win. Can't really feel great about that, though. And then you lose to the Texans, so now you've lost 3 of your last 4. Your guy that you put so much stock in and you went up and traded a ton to go get in Travis Hunter has maybe not been what you wanted this season, and now he's out for the season. So vibes around Jacksonville are not great right now at all. They're sitting at 5-4. It's not like the schedule is that tough. But I don't necessarily disagree with Liam Cohen in terms of him not wanting Trevor Lawrence to be the guy because it wasn't his guy, and I don't think he's happy with how he's playing. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I just don't really know what you're going to get for him. Because they can't, like you said, they don't have their first-round pick for next year, right? Because they traded it to go up and get Travis Hunter. Do you think you could get a first rounder for Trevor Lawrence? I don't think so.
Probably not. Probably a second or a third, or maybe just players.
Yeah.
But if that's something he wants to do, that I think he has the right to do that. The GM and Liam Cohen as well, I think, are really on the same page there.
Agreed.
And Trevor wasn't. They didn't pay Trevor. The previous GM did. The one that messed up the books and lost them a bunch of dollars. Because of accounting failures. I don't know what they could get for him. I don't think they should, to be honest. Trevor hasn't played as well as he hasn't lived up to the number 1 overall pick, and one of the best prospects ever. But he has a playoff win. If he doesn't get hurt that second year, they're in the playoffs again, and they're winning that division again. The last 2 years have had a lot of turmoil, of course, but I wouldn't quit on him yet. I'd give it one more year, because this year's really just been a story of health for a lot of the team, and then the Brian Thomas fall off. It's been disappointing, of course, but I also would argue it's not over. They're in the postseason right now.
100%.
If the season ended. They have games left against the Titans. They have a game left against the Cardinals. They have a game against the Jets still. They have 2 against the Titans. It's still out in front of them, and they can still make the postseason at 10-7, which is just 5-3 your next 8. That's not unfeasible. They just went 5-4 to start the year, so it's not over. But the loss, of course, the loss hurts them a ton. And I think those are all decisions you have to make in the off season. I still think you have half of a story of your season to go. So I don't think they'll make that rash decision yet. But a lot of the talk has been because the way Liam Cohen has reacted after Trevor Lawrence's mistakes in games or after missed opportunities in games. And it just seems like there's some angst there between the two.
It's tough to go from Baker to Trevor. At least in terms of Trevor's play this year, and Baker clearly just being so much on the same page, that as Liam Cohen, and then to Trevor, who will make great plays, then will do something, and it's like, all right, that's why you pick your nose on the sidelines.
I was trying to scheme up some way for the Jags to get their quarterback next year, And the only way if you look at the current draft order, the Titans pick first, and the Saints, the Giants, and the Browns. Maybe you could work out something with the Titans or the Giants.
I don't think they would trade up that high.
Yeah.
I think they'd take someone in the late first, or like trade back into the first, or take someone in the second.
Yeah.
But
The suggestion was going to be something. If you were to go that high, it'd have to be something involving Brian Thomas Jr.
I think you'd have to involve even more than that as well.
Yeah, but I think that's where it would have to start. Is Brian Thomas Jr.
Travis Hunter, which would be diabolical.
Yeah.
All of that being said, Trevor Lawrence has thrown for 200 yards 6 times this season. He's thrown for 250 plus 3 times this season. So, he's not the worst number 1 overall pick.
Oh, definitely not. I feel like
at quarterback in the NFL
we're
right now.
inventing a new Mendoza line, but for NFL quarterbacks, and that's 200 passing
200
yards.
passing yards.
That's pretty good.
In fact, he has yet to throw for as many passing yards as Bryce Young threw for. He's thrown for more than that every single game this season that Bryce Young threw for this weekend against the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, it's bad for Bryce. Next question I have for you all, just in terms of weekly takeaways going game by game. Denver on Thursday, not real football, sure, as JP calls it, but you win 10-7 against the Raiders. The offense, yet again, doesn't look good. Bo Nix, yet again, doesn't look good. But they're, 8-2 now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Atop that division and sitting so pretty to win that division with the Chiefs' struggles and then the Chargers' injuries. So they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But, when they get to the playoffs, for me, I think they're frauds in terms of legitimate contender. Because, sure, the defense is very good, and the defense can go win them games. But I think Bo Nix has been bad enough, and that offense has been bad enough that I don't actually trust them to make any real noise in the playoffs.
Well, they'll get to answer that question this weekend when they host Kansas City and
Sure.
Denver. Kansas City off the bye, and then Denver basically off the mini bye with a Thursday night game. They get the benefit of the doubt. Or not the benefit of the doubt. They get the benefit of the fact that game was played on Thursday, so no one remembers it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have even behooved them more if what if Thursday Night Football was on ESPN and no one had watched it.
Yeah.
That would have helped them a ton as well. I think they can still win games in the postseason, but the only way they're going to do that is if they're at home.
Sure.
And the only way they're going to do that is if they win the division, meaning they have to split with Kansas City somehow. And if they split with Kansas City, I think they'll get enough wins down the stretch to win that division and host a playoff game. And then if they're hosting a playoff game, I would more than likely pick them to win that game.
Yeah.
Unless it was against Mahomes again, or even Josh Allen. They're 5-0 at home. To their credit, their defense plays very, very good, but they should have lost on Thursday. There's no question about that.
I mean, Gino's literally out there limping around for the last quarter, can't move.
Yeah, it shows a lot of to his character.
Oh, 100%. Gritty guy.
His play as a quarterback to do that. But it also is an indictment on how bad Kenny Pickett is that Geno Smith on one leg is still walking out there to start for you instead of Kenny Pickett with the way Geno has played this year. So there's your indictment on Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think they can be dangerous at home and win games at home. With that defense, they can still put together a performance in one game. Can they put together 3 or 4 performances to win the Super Bowl? Absolutely not. And so they completely deserve to be called frauds. But they're still a really dangerous team.
Yeah.
Because of that home field advantage and because they have a Super Bowl winning head coach in Sean Payton and a Super Bowl could win defense if they had anything on offense.
We're about to also see if the R.J. Harvey stocks are for real because there's Dobbins may potentially get put on the IR, which would knock him out for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So that'd be interesting to see.
And the Broncos' schedule, the way it sets up, they have their bye at a perfect time, right? So you got the Raiders, and you get the extra long week on from the Thursday night game. You play the Chiefs in kind of a leave it all out in the field kind of game because then you have the bye the next week. So you don't. There's no Not that there ever is, but it's just zero concerns about the next game because you got 2 weeks to prepare for it. You got 2 weeks to recover. Minor injuries you're playing through, right? Because you've got that extra week of rest, so the bye week, and then you go to the Commanders, to the Raiders. Sorry, Jack, the Sunday night football
that's
yet
food
again.
schedule. We
Yeah.
got to get flexed out of that, man.
And
Please.
then Packers, Jags, both at home, the Chiefs again, and the Chargers at home. So there are a lot of games left in the schedule that they should win, even with Bo Nix not playing like he was last year, playing down a level from what we saw towards the end of last year. A lot of winnable games left on the schedule, and you've got a 3-game lead on the Chiefs right now? Is it 3 or 4 games? They're 8-2. Chiefs are 5-4.
It's really 2.
2.
I guess it's technically 2.5, but it's really 2. And with Kansas City playing you twice still, it's really 0.
Yeah.
I view it as. I think if Kansas City wins those 2 games, they'll more than likely win that division.
Agreed.
So it's really it's 2.5 technically. So
Yeah.
it's still out in front of them. But it's not like Denver doesn't play nobody down the stretch. They still have to play the Green Bay Packers
Yeah.
down the stretch.
That's what I was just talking about. But it is a home game.
You got to play the Chargers again at some point.
Chargers
to
again
play the
to
Chargers
end the
at
season.
home as well.
Yeah.
So they play the Chiefs on Christmas, which that'd be cool.
Electric.
That may decide the division as well on Christmas Day. It'll be on Christmas night. But I would agree. Fraud Watch is 100%. As we'll see in the pyramid later, they are power ranked where I think they deserve to be power ranked. And that shows. Do y'all know the spread this weekend for Kansas City, the Broncos?
It's at Denver.
At Denver.
I'm going to say Kansas City -1.5.
I was going to say 1.5. I'll pivot to 2.5.
It's 5.5.
Wow.
Wow.
While I do think the Broncos are fraud, I also got to remember the sports books have never wavered on Kansas City this season once in terms of odds.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that
And
makes
for the
sense.
Raiders, still a lot of Brock Bowers.
Sure.
That's all I have to say there.
All right, let's move through these last couple, and then we can get to our playoff pictures. Congrats to the Jets for winning a game where you have 160-ish yards of total offense because you have 2 special teams touchdowns,
Yeah.
and you're playing the Browns. So that makes it nice and easy. But it is funny, they fire sell at the deadline, and they're like, we're fully committed to the tank, and then you turn around and win a game because
They've won 2 in a row.
Crazy.
don't let them get hot.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Play the Patriots this weekend. Watch out.
Yeah.
It's on Thursday Night Football.
Not real football.
So anything can happen. We'll see what I decide there.
Sure.
And bets
In the bet segment.
and the bet segment on Thursday, which we'll talk about that on Thursday. That doesn't
Yeah.
have to be talked about right now. I didn't watch a single snap of this game, so don't ask me to comment on it.
Me either. All I was going to ask is, do we think we see Shadur at some point this season?
He should start next week.
Okay. That's the only thing I want to
He
ask.
should
'Cause
start the rest of the season.
I didn't watch a snap of this game either. I just kept seeing special teams touchdown, and then a lot of Dylan Gabriel hate online.
Yeah, I saw the dudes with the video of we can name 54 quarterbacks but better than Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah,
Did y'all see that?
I didn't see that, but I
did not watch the video, but I
Can imagine
saw
you
the
could.
starting premise. So,
did they. If they said Kenny Pickett better than him, though, I would disagree.
sure.
I think they did. I think they also named Matt Ryan off the broadcast booth, Tom Brady off the broadcast booth.
Fair and fair.
They named 3. Oh, I may have to go back and try and find it. I don't think I liked it. I like
Mark
a lot.
Sanchez.
No, they did not say Mark Sanchez. Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor, both better than Dylan Gabriel. I remember those guys off the top of my head.
Ryan
What
Fitzgerald.
about Bryce Young?
Yes, they said Bryce Young and Andy Dalton.
They've thrown for the same amount of 200-yard passing games.
Bad spot to be.
They said Carson Wentz, J.J. McCarthy. I didn't remember that much. They named a lot of guys, and I don't think I would agree. Of course, they named Joe Flacco, Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson was on their list. So they named, I think, 54 quarterbacks.
Wow.
With Gabriel, it's not that he's been bad. It's just that he has not looked the part whatsoever.
Agreed.
And then that's, I think, more so the problem. He has 6 touchdowns, 2 picks in the games he started. He's been super inefficient. Of course, he's 58% completion percentage.
Yeah.
Which is really bad for a quarterback.
And that was going to have to be his bread and butter, too, if he
Yes.
made the league, because there's, like you said, he doesn't look the part. He's not physically imposing. He doesn't make wow plays. It's how he made his living at Oregon. He punched, I think, well over 70% completion. And so that was really his only path to success in the NFL was just be hyper accurate, short passes, just make your living there, and he's not done that. I don't really expect him to.
He's got 5 starts now, 1-4. So I think that's enough to say that Shedeur should start next week against the Baltimore Ravens. But I don't. It doesn't sound like there's a lot of buzz there for them.
I don't think he will. That's just your opinion of what you would do if you were the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. We had 2 games in 44-22 in the afternoon time slot. Seahawks took it to Arizona. Wasn't it 35-0 at one point in the first half?
With 8 minutes left in the second quarter.
Yep. Just scored every way possible. Special teams, offense, defensive, making plays.
2 fumble recoveries for a touchdown.
Yep, that'll do it.
Identical plays too. I'm pretty sure it was the same guy forced the fumble. It was the same guy, DeMarcus Lawrence, that recovers the fumble for a touchdown. Brissett is stepping up to throw, and he gets hit in the arm and fumbles the ball.
Yep.
Falls directly into DeMarcus Lawrence's hands, and he scores.
And the same guy made the extra point, so
Wow.
it's a lot of similarities.
Wouldn't be surprised with that. With
I'm
Jason Myers.
Just reading off the box score.
Is
and
it
all
the same
names.
guy that forced the fumble? Does it say that?
Yeah, it's T. Knight.
Okay.
I can't find his first name. It's abbreviated, but it's T. Knight is forced the fumble, and then DeMarcus Lawrence recovered it.
Did he play at South Carolina? T. Knight. Trevor Knight. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
No.
but
No, not Trevor Knight.
Gig
They
'em.
do have a South Carolina rookie on there with Emmanuari, which I butchered his last name. But Seattle continues to be dominant.
Not.
And I'll show that in my
we'll
pyramid
address that later.
The Lions, they now have won 10 straight games following a loss under Dan Campbell. So they're not putting together consistent bad performances. The only problem with that is when you lose in the postseason, the season's over.
Yeah.
And so that may
but week
hurt
1 next
them.
year they get in the dub.
True.
They start 1-0.
They did not this past year. They were back to back.
Wait,
the
I
stat
guess
is on
that-
regular season games.
Yeah, as
Yeah,
I say,
yeah.
that probably doesn't carry over from season to season.
Real quick, T. Knight is Tyrese Knight, who played his football at UTEP. He was a minor.
How about that?
Yeah.
Fire.
3rd round draft pick.
Also, that Commanders Lions game, Jack, do you want to walk us through the injuries again? Me and you were talking about this before the show. You're without your starting quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, it's just pretty comical at this point. You can't help but laugh. Starting quarterback's out. We're missing multiple key defensive ends. Deron Payne gets ejected from the game and is now suspended because he punched Amon-Ra St. Brown because 3 plays earlier, Amon-Ra St. Brown hit him and the refs didn't call anything. So he decided to take matters into his own hand and get back, which can't do it, but also I understand it a little bit. You're going to get slapped by a wide receiver as a defensive tackle. You probably don't feel like you should take that. Other injuries, Terry McLaurin's back out. We just signed Robbie Chosen is back up yet again from the practice squad, along with Ja'Cory Jones, a name I've never heard before. Don't ask me where he's played before, where he went to college, anything like that. Trey Amos broke his leg in the game, and Marshawn Lattimore tore his ACL, so they're both out.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty bad. Dan Quinn announced he's going to take over calling plays. Not that I think that'll matter because there's no one out there. It's Javon Kinlaw, Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu, and Mikey Sanders still. And let's hope we can find 6 other guys. But with that being said, it's not an all-an-injury thing. I don't think this team was good enough to make real noise this season anyway, because even when guys have been healthy, and you can say, well, it's hard to play good defense when there's a lot of bad players around you, but we're just not seeing good play from a lot of players when they've been healthy. It's not like Marcus Lattimore was was locking down players when he was out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the defensive ends were wreaking havoc when they were out there.
Yeah, we mentioned that game. We don't even mention the brightest spot. Dan Campbell took over play calling for the offense.
Yeah.
And Dan Campbell dusted y'all. 44 points, 546 total yards.
Oh, they just walked us up down the field.
Yeah.
The Commanders have now lost 4 straight games by 20 points or more, which in the NFL is quite impressive. Like
Yeah.
Very.
even terrible teams, the worst teams, you don't lose 4 straight games by 20 points or more.
You
And
don't
that-
normally lose by 20 points. So to lose
Correct.
4 straight by 20 points.
And that is what happens when your last 3 games are at the Chiefs, against the Seahawks, and against the Lions, and you're a bad team. It just hurts. Now we go off to Madrid to play, and more injury news is coming out because we get injury stuff earlier because anyone that was hurt didn't take the plane to Madrid. They just stayed home.
Mhm.
So Treylon Burks, the guy we just had to bring up to fill injury spots, hurt his finger and isn't playing this week because he has to get surgery on it.
Crazy.
What a time, man. We're
Yeah.
we're in good shape.
Hey, at least you have your
3-7.
first round pick.
yeah.
The key takeaway is Dan Campbell calling plays, though. How is that going to look going forward?
Mhm.
It surprised me because I guess I just haven't been paying close enough attention. I didn't feel like the offense was bad enough for him to, which he obviously disagreed. He was clearly very unhappy with how play calling was being handled. But that thought never occurred
He's
to me.
calling offensive plays.
Yes. I believe he's calling offensive plays.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Let me double check.
Let me double check.
Can we confirm that?
Because I could be wrong, but I just remember
I'm
seeing him
checking.
on the sidelines with the play sheet when they were on offense.
So he called defensive plays for the Cowboys, and he would always call them from the booth as well up top. So he wouldn't do not Dan Campbell, Dan Quinn.
I was talking about, Dan Campbell. Did I say Dan
yes.
Quinn?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Wrong Dan.
We flipped it.
Okay, Dan Campbell calling offensive plays. Yes.
That's the key NFL takeaway because the
Yes.
Commanders are dead. Who
Mhm.
cares that Dan Quinn's taking over play calling? Only Commanders fans should care. Dan Campbell took over offensive play calling.
Yes.
Clearly, the Commanders' play calling and defensive play was bad enough that we needed a change. I didn't feel like while they've been a little inconsistent, I'm almost surprised that Dan Campbell felt like the offense was bad enough that he needed to take over.
I think it's just what I talked about last week is that they aren't. It's not necessarily it is. I would argue it is lack of consistency because in their losses it has been their offense hasn't been able to play 4 quarters of good football.
Sure.
And so he wanted to give what he said in his post-game press conferences. He wanted to give them a spark and try and give them a fire, and they of course fed off that big time. Will that continue week after week is what the question then becomes.
Well, yeah.
And that will be the question in Philly on Sunday night.
Sure. Didn't even say like he remains non-committal about him calling plays in the
Oh.
future. Like when he was asked about it, it was like it went well. Like we'll see if I continue to do it, which honestly hurts as a Commanders fan. It feels like, well, this felt like a good game for us to like get out there and try some things
Yeah.
and mess around because we knew this team is shit, and so we could just beat them up regardless.
Yeah. As a Jameer Gibbs fantasy owner, I loved it. 15 carries, 142 yards, averaged over 9 per carry
He's so
with 2
dynamic.
touchdowns. Love seeing that, but that was him and Montgomery had the same number of touches. Gibbs just averaged 9.5 yards per carry to Montgomery's 4.7. So I'll take that. That was huge.
Yeah.
To segue into the other game, at least the Commanders have their first-round pick, unlike the Atlanta Falcons.
This is true. LOL Falcons. I can't believe Raheem Morris hasn't been fired yet. I'm assuming it's gonna happen soon, especially if they keep losing.
Who knows with Arthur Blank?
It's perfect because the Colts end up going to overtime. It's not like they played their best game, but it was the Falcons, so you knew they were going to come out with the win. Jonathan Taylor goes insane. His 80-ish yard touchdown run, I don't remember the exact yardage, where he initially gets stopped
83.
up
83.
and then bounces outside. Just brilliant. And then the Falcons offensively continue to be so inconsistent, and play calling is part of it. The fact that your quarterback is inaccurate. He just misses way too much to
Yep. 12
make
for
it.
28.
Yeah, talking about Dylan Gabriel, his pathway to making a living. Michael Penix does not have to be as accurate as Dylan Gabriel and put up, such a high completion percentage, but he is too inaccurate that it's really hurting them.
Mhm.
Even if he's, going to be the more gunslinger type, big play type, he's got to hit more layups than he is. I still think they should be feeding Bijan more than they are. because if your quarterback is wildly inconsistent, I would like to not put the ball in his hands as much. But they're not necessarily doing that.
Yeah, watching this game, it just like it's again Falcons are going to Falcon, and so every Falcons fan understands how it's going to go. And you are leading 17-13 in the second half, and you have 3 straight times where you are given a chance to go and make it a 2-score game or extend it to a 7-point game. They have to punt the ball 3 times because they can't get anything going offensively. And it's not like, oh, well, it happens the other team wasn't scoring, which they weren't as well. But the momentum was massive differences as well. All the momentum was with Atlanta. The Colts fumble the football in Atlanta territory. They turn over on downs in Atlanta territory. Their defense continues to make big stops against this Colts really dynamic offense. They force a 3-and-out. Their defense is cooking in that third quarter, but they just refuse to go down there and extend the lead or make it a 2-possession game, and it ends up biting them. Jonathan Taylor pops the 83-yard touchdown. All the credit to the Falcons for going and responding and going down there and scoring again. But then Daniel Jones makes this couple big plays, especially the scramble on 3rd and long, and then the pass to Tyler Warren on 4th down. And you get the ball to start overtime, and you can't make anything happen again. And of course, in Falcons fashion, you end up losing to Jonathan Taylor, scoring the touchdown there at the end. Jonathan Taylor has the best fantasy performance by anyone this season.
Yep.
With a 50 bomb in my league, at least, depending on what league you have. I think he was a 49 bomb in most other leagues.
Yeah.
But I give more points to long touchdowns because I'm cool like that. But Raheem Morris should have been fired before the season started. I have always believed that. He's not a good head coach. He already showed that in his first tenure. The Penix stuff, it's really...
You want to read his stat line there?
12 for 28, 177 for a touchdown. When we thought of Michael Penix at Washington, we thought of big plays over the top, yes, but accuracy with the ball. He does not miss. When he's given a clean pocket, he hits the guy in stride. And to be 12 for 28, that is just not good enough.
See, and what I think of is I think of him as being clutch, right? The Penn State game,
Yeah.
while at Indiana, the dive for the end zone. The game earlier this season in the NFL, I forget who it was, but where he has, I believe, in the last couple drives.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay, thank you.
The season opener.
Yes, a dive into the end zone, a dive on 4th and short at the edge.
Yeah.
And so to come out in a clutch situation at the end of the game where you have a chance to go extend the lead to kind of untouchable, is that right?
Yeah.
To not do that, I don't know, just a little kind of unexpected. Because I feel like we've kind of come to know him to be the guy who's going to get it done, kind of one unexpected. And maybe that's a small sample size that I'm talking about, but I don't know, that's been an impressive part of his game for me, and so to not do that Sunday was a little surprising.
And this is the part for me as well, for Falcons play calling as well. In the second half, I don't have the exact number, but I think this was going into the fourth quarter. Jonathan Taylor in the second half had 13 second-half touches. Bijan, on 3 drives, had just 3 touches.
Yeah.
You can't have a running back who is just as dynamic as Jonathan Taylor, has had the dynamic run against the Bills like Jonathan Taylor had against you in the fourth quarter, and you're giving it to Tyler Algier 11 times. I don't care that he is being productive and efficient on those carries.
Bijan's better.
It's completely different to the Seahawks where it's Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Well, they're kind of similar in that way. So Zach Charbonnet on the goal line, I'm fine with it. It's Bijan and Tyler Algier. It's freaking it's Steph Curry and Seth Curry. It's a huge difference.
Yeah.
In quarterback or running back
that's
play.
no disrespect to Tyler Algier, who's still an NFL running back.
Seth Curry has had a long NBA career.
Yes, he has.
In his opportunities, but Bijan is different.
It's just the play calling makes no sense. The quarterback play, like Sanders said, not clutch down the stretch is surprising. And they had every reason to go put the Colts away, but the Colts found a way to win somehow with Daniel Jones down the stretch.
Yeah.
Man, it's glorious to just watch that team play every weekend and lose games in ways you can't imagine. And I can't wait for them to find a way to potentially lose to the Panthers again, potentially this weekend. Or beat the Panthers. I'm fine with that as well.
I kind of need them to go beat the Panthers at this point. I just don't. Last thing, I don't. I mean, I'll reiterate. It's clear Penix is struggling, and you're just doing nothing to make it easier on him. You're giving him nothing easy. You're not using your all-pro caliber running back, and just leaning on. Because it's not like they got down in this game, and it was like, oh, we gotta move the ball quick to catch up. You, like you said, you had the lead.
They led for the entirety of the third quarter.
Yeah, and you just don't. Yeah, you don't lean on the run game, which was being productive. You put the ball in your quarterback's hands, and he's not making plays. It's on him, but golly, you could make it easier on the kid, and that's just pretty frustrating as a Michael Penix Washington fan. It is also ironic the Falcons trade up to improve their defense because they felt like they didn't have the defensive talent to make plays, and the defense has actually been solid this year. And it's the offense that's now letting them down. And they're looking like they're going to very much regret trading away that first-round pick.
Yeah, I have the numbers. In the second half, Jonathan Taylor had 23 touches. Does what he does. Bijan had 7.
I mean, that's malpractice.
Yeah,
And
especially when you're playing with the lead.
Yeah,
Like, that's when you should be grinding.
That's a fireable offense.
Agreed.
And there's been many of those this season, and it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I think it's obviously too late now, and you want to actually do this. But if I was the GM, I literally think, and I couldn't fire the coach for some reason because the owner is holding me hostage. It'd be like a Moneyball situation. I would just be like, I'm trading Tyler Algier. I'm giving you a crappy running back too that is so bad that you have no choice but to just force feed Bijan.
That's genius. He would still hand the ball off to whoever the third string
Oh
is.
yeah, 100%.
Hey, but at least they have their first-round pick. At least they didn't give Kirk Cousins 4 years, $120 million. At least they didn't draft Michael Penix, after giving Kirk Cousins that money.
Yeah.
At least they traded Kirk Cousins while he still had some, market value. A lot of great decisions being made there in Atlanta.
Good decision after good decision.
I love it. I just love it.
Yeah, running back 3 for them is Nathan Carter.
Yeah.
Don't know who that is.
You would learn the name if Algier got traded.
If Algier got traded, pick him up. Pick him up in fantasy. Is that it?
No,
Anything
we got
else?
one more game, and
Do
I
it.
feel like we should hit it. The Rams go to the 49ers and win pretty easily. They win 42-26. None of the afternoon slates were really close games or exciting games down the stretch. You got to watch good football teams play good football, so it's exciting from that standpoint. But there weren't really nail-biters. That Rams offense is just humming right now. It's so smooth. You turn it on and you don't even hear it. It is the opposite of the dishwasher in my apartment where you turn it on and you think the kitchen's about to explode.
I thought you were about to compare it to the Denver Broncos offense, but
Well, yeah, that works too. But it's just so smooth. It's a well-oiled machine, and that's kind of what you would expect from Matthew Stafford, and then you give him 2 weapons, and Devontae Adams, and Puka Nakua, Cinema. And then the 49ers, they're just beat up at this point, and so it's just not going to be a good matchup. I know you had something in your notes about they've not really succeeded well against the...
Oh, yeah. No, Rams have been really bad against the Niners.
Yeah.
Over the past, I think it's 4 or 5 years. They have, I think 2 wins. Of course, they lose the Thursday Nighter earlier this year to Jake Tonjes and Mac Jones.
Sure.
Mac Jones had another efficient day against them. He was 33 for 39, had 3 touchdowns himself, threw a pick to Mississippi State legend Emmanuel Forbes in this
that
game.
is a Mississippi State legend I can get behind.
Commanders legend?
I don't know about that.
Commanders trivia fact in 10 years?
The Rams were just so dynamic offensively. 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, a touchdown in the second, a touchdown in the third, and 2 in the fourth. If you're scoring touchdowns every time you touch the ball, you're going to be really hard to stop. Duh. The only concern was towards the second half when Devontae Adams, he had looked like a back injury. Apparently it was an oblique injury, which is just the side of your back.
I'd argue that's even scarier.
They said he would have came back in the game if it was closer.
Gotcha.
So it looks like it won't be a concern going forward. But that's really the only thing that could stop them. And I still think even with Puka Nakua, as just one weapon. They still have enough firepower with Matthew Stafford to
Sure.
go beat anyone offensively. Their front seven is really dynamic. The only concern, I think, is their corners. If Emmanuel Forbes is your starting cornerback, that could be a concern when you get to the postseason if you have to play Seattle and they have JSN and Rashid Shaheed and Torrey Horton.
Philadelphia.
Philly with Devontae Smith and
I did
A.J.
not
Brown.
love A.J. Brown matched up on Emmanuel Forbes.
Tampa Bay with Emeka Ibuka and Chris Godwin and maybe Mike Evans at the end of the year. Those are concerns, but they have enough I didn't even mention the Lions in that with all of their firepower. They have enough firepower themselves to win a shootout with, I think, any of those teams.
Yeah.
And with their front seven, they can get after the quarterback really, really well and maybe force some turnovers. They play really complimentary football, really good complimentary football. And they're going to be really, really dangerous. Spoiler alert, they'll be pretty high up on the pyramid this week. We will see. And they got over their 49ers problem by winning this game. This was a must-win because if they lose this, they were 6-3, and the Niners were 7-3. You've lost to the Niners twice, and you still haven't played Seattle yet. They would be out of the division race entirely and would only be a wild card team at that point.
Sure.
And that would be very much a cause for concern going forward. Well, I'm really interested to see how they'll match up against Seattle. I can't wait for that game. That is this weekend, 3 o'clock on Fox in Los Angeles. And so I can't wait to see that game. I also want to see if Seattle brings a crowd down to L.A. because we haven't really seen that as much in those games in years prior. And L.A., of course, has just been kind of overran by whatever opposing team is in there, like they were on Sunday night with the Steelers and Chargers. But it's just another really good offensive performance from that Rams team. Stafford is having an MVP caliber season, and not enough people are talking about it.
Sure. Shall we get to our playoff pictures
Yeah,
or
we can.
playoff predictions?
I've got the bracket ready to go. That's
Cool.
the word. It cracks me up because I have this up from earlier. I feel like it's our Subway Surfers that we just have going on the random screen over
Oh, yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
But let's see. Is this going to be right? It is. I
Cool.
believe that's right.
I can go first this time.
Yeah, you go first.
We'll start in the AFC. Chargers versus Steelers. Chargers being the 5 seed, Steelers being the 4 seed. Give me the Chargers. We just saw this matchup. It didn't go well for the Steelers. I don't really feel great about either of these teams rolling into the playoffs, but I will take the Chargers to win now, considering they literally just did it last.
Yeah, it was the home
2
game
nights
versus
ago.
being in.
This is true.
Is it still? It's not Heinz Field anymore. Did it get a new name, a brand name, or is it still Heinz Field?
It's Acrisure Stadium.
Acrisure
Yeah.
Stadium.
Well, I'm going
Heinz
to continue to call it Heinz
Yeah,
Field.
it's Heinz Field.
I just think the Steelers really struggled to move the football, and I'm not sure that would be remedied in a rematch. Next matchup, 7 seed Jaguars versus the 2 seed Broncos. One of them being a team I called frauds earlier, and then another one being a team I said has lost all momentum earlier. So you had another matchup where I don't really love either of these teams, but someone does have to win it. Give me the Broncos. They're at home. Their defense is really good. I think they could shut Trevor Lawrence and that offense down just fine. And then the 6 seed Bills versus the 3 seed Patriots. What would be a divisional matchup in the playoffs? The Patriots have already won this season, and I'd take
In
them to
Buffalo.
win in Buffalo, and I'd take them to win again at home here. Drake May's playing so well. They're such a good offense at generating explosive plays, a lot through the passing game. They got it going in the run a little bit this past week with Travion Henderson. I hope that continues. I loved what I saw from them against the Bucks on Sunday. That gives you Chargers versus Colts in the divisional round, and I'd easily take the Colts here. I think Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor could get it done offensively, and then that defense would have no issue containing Herbert and the injuries on the offensive side. And then Patriots versus Broncos. Give me the Patriots. I called the Broncos frauds earlier. I'm not going to put a team I called frauds. Give them 2 playoff wins. So give me the Patriots. And then Patriots versus Colts. I'll take the Colts. Just love that run game. I think their defense will improve. They went all in. They got Sauce Gardner. Sure, there's the meme of him on his hands and knees as Drake London's running the out. But I still think that's a good addition. On the other side, 5-seed Rams versus the 4-seed Buccaneers. Give me the Rams. It'd be a fire match. I love these matchups on the national side better than the American side.
So much more.
Like,
how
it's-
boring would that AFC postseason be with just one of the big four quarterbacks of Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Mahomes?
The NFL does not want that left side to happen, so
Not at all.
it won't
Whoa,
happen.
whoa, whoa, we got Justin Herbert in there.
How many playoff wins does he have? He would have one, I guess.
There's one good matchup on that side.
Yes.
They would like
Bills, Patriots?
Patriots in the first round.
Yeah.
This side is cinema, though. But, yeah, give me the Rams to beat the Buccaneers. I just raved about that offense. I think Matthew Stafford, those receivers, Blake Corum, Kyron Williams, could get it done. And that probably would be a pretty high-scoring game. It'd be a fire game. But give me the Rams. And then Packers versus Seahawks. Seahawks all day. Packers offense just can't get anything going right now. Overwhelmed by injuries, and it kind of feels like the offense is giving up because of that. They're not trusting what's left.
Was Packers Seahawks the catch no catch? Like it was called a touchdown when it should have been a pick.
Yes, Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
What's his name? Schubert. Not Doug Baldwin. Golden Tate
Yes.
had one hand on the football like
And
this.
the DB's got
And
like
the DB had it with two hands like Sanders is doing right now. That's a touchdown for Seattle, though, of course.
Naturally.
It would also be a rematch of the NFC Championship where the Packers choked a 16-0 lead, and Seattle went on to the Super Bowl, and then the Malcolm Butler play happened.
I feel like
Yeah.
there's just so much lore, for lack of a better word, in these NFC matchups. You've got that
Absolutely.
game, Packers Seahawks, which is just a classic matchup with so many stories behind that, and then you got Bears Lions, like a divisional matchup.
Yeah.
Which is great.
But yeah, give me the Seahawks. I think the Packers defense is good enough to keep it close, but I just don't trust that offense at all right now. And then Bears versus Lions.
Jack out on Jordan Love. Breaking news.
We'll talk about it later. Bears versus Lions. I'm going to trust the old version. The Bears, taking Ben Johnson, are going to try and become the new Lions in some ways. Not all, but in some. But I'm going to trust that Lions offense more than the Bears right now. So give me the Lions to move on.
So you picked Rams, Seahawks, Lions.
Yes.
So the Seahawks will host, and they will host the Rams. Nope, the Lions. Excuse me. And then the Eagles will host the Rams. And then there you go.
Yeah, Rams versus Eagles first. I'm going to pick the Rams, maybe partially a hater pick as a Commanders fan. The Eagles' defense looked very good last night. The offense looked mid. And I just think the Rams will be able to score enough to beat the Eagles on the road, which in what would be an upset seed-wise. And then Lions versus Seahawks. Give me the Seahawks. JP's won me over, I guess. He showed me the light. That's a fantastic team. They dominated the Cardinals on Sunday in all facets of the game. Just playing fantastic football right now.
It's the first time since 2015 where they have won 2 games in a row by 20-plus points. 2015 being the year they won the Super Bowl.
Well, there you go. Rams.
That was
The year they lost the Super Bowl.
they didn't go to the Super. That was the year the Broncos beat the Panthers.
The year prior to them making the Super Bowl.
It was the year after they won the Super Bowl, I believe. I think the Broncos lost to the Seahawks in 2014 because that was the year the Broncos had the best offense ever.
And then they laid an egg.
And then they laid an egg and lose the Super Bowl. And then the next year, I believe, is 2015.
Next year was Malcolm Butler. Then the following year was Denver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was right. The year they lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
To the
right
Patriots.
after a correction. I will choose to believe that y'all are right because I actually don't know. Rams versus Seahawks. Give me the Seahawks. Playing fantastic football. I already said it multiple times. Don't feel like saying much more. And Seahawks Colts.
Sam Darnold versus Daniel Jones. I believe again. I think this was your matchup last week. Because I think it was it my matchup too?
No.
No, it was not because I had Buccaneers.
You had
Colts.
Bucks Bills
Yeah,
Bucks
last
Bills.
week.
I'm going to take the Seahawks. Both offenses are run heavy. thrive off establishing the rush and finding great success there. But I like Seattle's defense a little more than I like the Colts right now. So
You
give me
flipped
Seattle.
your pick from last week.
Yep.
Okay. Before while can we so you said it was 2015. I think 2015, the 2015 season, that was Cam Newton's MVP year, was it not? And so if the 2015 that was the Cam Newton year, then that would have been the year the Broncos won the Super Bowl. And then the year before that, Chromie said, if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl, I will throw all my money down the drain.
I guess, what are we technically...
So 2015 season, 2016 Super Bowl was Broncos over Carolina, right? Or was it the 2014, 2015?
The 2015 into 2016 season was the Broncos over the Panthers.
And then the year before that
was the Patriots over the Seahawks.
Okay. And then the year before that was the Broncos' elite offense where they lose
Correct.
to the Seahawks. Okay. So we were both right. We just got I hate this is the thing I love about the MLB. It's one of the my favorite thing about the MLB is everything happens in a year. So when you say a year, you're talking about everything.
Yeah.
The game 1 and the last game of the World Series. I don't like it, but the NBA and the NFL and college football are all too confusing. I can go next.
Can we give credit to golf?
Yes, and golf. No disrespect to golf. I
Thank you.
don't know
Sure,
where
appreciate
soccer
that.
falls in that, Jack. I don't know how they.
Well, the prize in soccer, you can win 8 different things.
True.
Yeah.
And also your domestic season, so your league is across the calendar. It's across 2 calendar years because you start in about August and you'll finish up in May.
Okay. I'm gonna go for the sake of time, given that we're almost an hour and a half in. I'm gonna go a little bit faster. I'm gonna rattle them off, and I'm gonna go Chargers because they just won. So why wouldn't they win again? Broncos, Jaguars. As much as I agree with Jack that the Broncos are fraudulent right now and the offense is not playing well enough to win games in the playoffs, I do not like the Jaguars. And then you just lose Travis Hunter to a season-ending injury. I'm just not a huge fan of that team. And I wasn't a huge fan coming in, and I feel like now we are maybe seeing more of what I expected from them after a good start. Bills, Patriots. I really wish that I could pick the Bills, but I feel like
You objectively can pick the Bills. You're
True.
able to.
I wish that I was going to pick the Bills.
It's less letters to type in.
True. Well, if I get a head start. A couple weeks ago, I feel like it was it was close, and I would give the Bills the edge because of Josh Allen. But the way the two teams have been playing right now has been very different. The Patriots are playing the best football we've seen from Drake May and from this era of the Patriots, whereas the Bills have been playing some of the inconsistent football that we've seen from the Bills and Josh Allen. Turnovers, losing them the games that they lose. Just not what you want to see from a team playing a very hot team in the Patriots. So that is my picks there, which I believe are the same as Jack's. So gonna go with. All right, I'm gonna go hot. Nope, not gonna go hot take. I wish I could. I wish that I did because I could. I almost picked the Chargers. I almost picked the Chargers because
I mean, who's better, Daniel Jones or Justin Herbert?
that's the thing. Right now, Danny Dimes is kind of back. Indiana Jones hasn't been seen the past couple weeks, and
Did
Danny
he ever
Dimes
leave?
He did it was Indiana Jones for the first 6 weeks of the season. There's no denying it was Indiana Jones. And now we've had back-to-back weeks with multiple picks, I believe. It lost in the game 2 weeks ago. It almost lost in the game yesterday. And so is Danny Dimes back? Is Indiana Jones already gone that quick? But the run game of the Colts, I will still give them that win because Indiana Jones is at his best when the run game is working and it sets him up and takes more pressure off of him. Takes pressure off of him. So I'm going to go with the Colts getting that win. And then I think I'm also going to have the Patriots winning. I should have gone first because now the allegations of I'm just copying Jack's ballot are going to go crazy.
I mean, I'm honored. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
I can't wait to see what JP does different because
He's picking the Bills to win. Guarantee it.
All right.
or he might pick the Steelers over the Chargers. Maybe give
I'll do different
Acrisure
because I
Stadium.
believe different, but Continue.
Bucks, Rams. I'll go different here. I will give Baker Mayfield the win because they've already beat them this year in Los Angeles, I believe. Is that right? A couple weeks ago.
They haven't played. They will play.
They will play. Excuse
in
me.
2 weeks.
Well, they haven't played. And that being said, since they haven't played, I'm going to give it to the Rams. And here's where I can change things up a little bit and provide a little bit different perspective. I am going to go Seahawks because I think JP is right that this team might be the best team in the NFL right now. And not to spoil anything, but we'll talk about that later. But I'm going to change it up and go Bears over the Lions. The Lions, as we've talked pretty consistently, are not great in games where they cannot get a lead and then just hold on to that lead. And so I'll pick the Bears to be in the game early, to stay in the game, and the Lions to collapse down the stretch. Maybe a Jared Goff pick because he's trying to force something, but I'll go Bears over the Lions with a late game stumble because that's not something we've seen them do consistently, is win close games and win them late. And so that would put the Rams down here. Eagles, Bears. I'm going to go Eagles. And I'm going to go Seahawks. And then I'll go Colts still. Even though I said, what if Danny Dimes is back and Indiana Jones is gone? Jonathan Taylor is just insane. That offensive line is insane. One of my dreams is for Quentin Nelson to win Super Bowl MVP. I think that would just be so funny. It will never happen, but
he'd have to catch a touchdown. In that
he
game.
would have to catch a touchdown. I'm aware, but I just think it would be so funny as someone who's argued since we started this podcast how important offensive line is to run game with the Ashton Genty draft and that kind of stuff. I think it'd be so funny for something to happen and Quentin Nelson win Super Bowl MVP.
If Quentin Nelson was surrounded by 4 bad offensive linemen, he would be useless.
I agree. That's why offensive line is important.
So, unlucky for him. He's actually just a good offensive line merchant, is
and
what
if
I'm
John,
saying.
yeah, that maybe, or maybe running backs are all good offensive line merchants. Who knows? And then Seahawks, Eagles. I will go Seahawks. And then winning the Super Bowl, I will have the Seattle Seahawks because the weapons they have. Nope, not the full name. The weapons they have in JSN and their tight end, who I just picked up in fantasy, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head.
Which one?
Barner. That's the one I'm thinking about. And then also Arroyo, I guess, would be their other tight end,
Elijah
the rookie.
Arroyo.
The weapons they have are great, and Darnold has shown himself able to just get the ball to those guys. Kind of like we talk about Arch at Texas. Just get the ball to your weapons and let them do all the work. You don't have to be Tom Brady or Peyton Manning.
Y'all know how many passes Sam Darnold completed on Sunday?
14. That's just a guess.
10.
I was going to go 9.
He completed
so,
10
yeah.
passes.
Yeah. That was the downside of the whooping that they put on Arizona, was that as a JSN owner, there was just not a whole lot coming to him because there was no need. But there you have it, my playoff picture, and I will set the scene for JP's playoff picture now.
So you have Seattle over the Colts, copying Jack almost identically, getting the same result.
I know, man. What is this?
What's new? We'll start in the AFC. I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers to defeat the Los Angeles Chargers in the first round, and don't put them up top. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and just...
I'm going to take Pittsburgh to beat Los Angeles, even though that result just happened, because I don't trust Justin Herbert in the playoffs. And why should I until that result changes? And how much credit should I give to him for beating the Aaron Rodgers Steelers? Not a lot. But that's not going to happen because the Steelers will win this game because the playoffs are starting on Sunday. In this scenario, give me the Broncos as well with the home field advantage in the postseason. And then, yes, you are correct. Give me Buffalo to defeat the New England Patriots. Like Cromie said, I'm not a prisoner of the moment. I think Buffalo is still one of the best teams in the league. I also think
It's
Destiny...
not a prisoner of the moment move when they played earlier in the season and the Patriots beat them. So
I think Destiny is such a big part of this. I just think Buffalo is destined to for sure make the AFC Championship game, and I think they're destined to make the playoffs. I believe, and this is part of my take with the Mississippi State Bulldogs towards the end of the season, that there's just no way that you go through this much turmoil without seeing something if you've worked hard enough for it. Levy and the Bulldogs have, and they're going to be bowl eligible come the Egg Bowl. Buffalo and the Bills have. Josh Allen has. And so I think Josh Allen would beat the Patriots in that matchup, and I will also take Josh Allen to beat the Colts in that matchup as well. Run game versus run game. Buffalo just outruns them that day. So give me Buffalo in the AFC title game. Steelers, Broncos. Excuse me. I'm all over the Broncos. Man, what a slugfest game that would be, though. If the Broncos don't pick up their offense, we're talking about it'll look like a Oregon-Iowa kind of game.
sure, a race to 20. Some would say.
A race to 20, which is all the Steelers want to do is score 20 points and hold them under 20 points. So give me Bills, Broncos, and then give me Josh Allen to win a third game on the road against the three teams that are 8-2 right now, and the Patriots, Colts, and Broncos. Better quarterback play. They find a way to get it done running back wise. And in the postseason, what wins games in the AFC side of the field is quarterback play. So give me Josh Allen to defeat Bo Nix, Drake May, and Daniel Jones. That would be a hot take to begin the season, and I don't think it should be a hot take right now either. Rams, Buccaneers. I'm all over the Rams, and you'll see why later in a segment we do. Give me the Rams to defeat the Buccaneers. I think just the injuries would hurt Tampa Bay in this game. And we'll see this matchup in 2 weeks, so they have every right to prove me wrong in 2 weeks. Packers, Seahawks, I'm over Seattle as well. I would trust Seattle at home in the postseason. They're kind of turning a leaf on their home results with Mike McDonald. That place is electric in the postseason as well. And they also I think they're a really, really good matchup for Green Bay, even if that game was in Lambeau Field. Give me the Lions over the Bears, and give me to... It'll look almost identical to the game earlier this year. I think the Lions blow out the Bears if they played in the postseason on Sunday. So give me the Lions to defeat the Chicago Bears. Rams in Philly. Again, give me the Eagles to win this game. I just trust Jalen Hurts. I trust that team in the postseason. I don't trust the decisions that they made last night, but I trust them in the postseason to defeat the Rams again this year and again in the postseason after last year. So give me the Eagles in the AFC Championship game. Give me Seattle to defeat the Detroit Lions. Give me, once again, Eagles, Bills in the Super Bowl. That's the Eagles in the Super Bowl for 3 straight weeks. It's the same matchup I had last week. Give me Buffalo to win the Super Bowl over the Philadelphia Eagles. And that is it for my playoff picture. Any questions?
None.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Would you be okay with Justin Herbert being not under the pressure, the notion being that he's terrible if he were to lose to the Steelers in the postseason?
Terrible, no. I would still defend him with the offensive line.
Depending on how the game plays out.
Yeah, that's fair. If it plays out like the game we were
2 interceptions, 220 yards, just over 50% completion percentage.
It depends on what the interceptions were.
He threw the interceptions.
Yeah, but like, is it him just making bad reads and terrible throws, or is it constantly under pressure? Because what was the stat you were talking about for him and his time to throw?
He had the 5th game this season with a time to throw of 2.25 seconds or less, average time to throw. All other quarterbacks, the other 4 quarterbacks had a pressure rate of 28% or less in those games. And despite him getting out the ball that fast on Sunday Night Football, he was still under pressure 48% of the time.
Yeah.
Which is pretty damning of the Chargers' offensive line.
Yep.
And also shout out, celebrate defense.
I mean,
Shout out
Mahomes has
Pittsburgh.
been in the Super Bowl twice. Poor offensive line play. So
This is a little next level, but sure.
Yeah.
I don't think either me or Sanders think Justin Herbert is as good as Patrick Mahomes.
I'm not
So-
saying you're saying that, but I am saying that a guy of similar
Now here's a guy.
stature
No, I would not be.
and talent profile and all of those things has not just like one-off been in the Super Bowl. He's twice been in the Super Bowl with bad offensive
Sure.
line play.
Yeah. Still would not buy into that notion.
If he throws 9 interceptions,
If Cromie is right and he threw 9 interceptions, then we might need to get his eyes checked like Jameis Winston, see if he can get cataract surgery or something, because I don't know what the issue is. But yeah,
He's terrible.
yeah,
would be
probably.
I think
that
we-
would be the issue.
I think I'd rather see
at that point, if he threw 9 interceptions in a playoff game, I think that
Trey
I could.
Lance rolls out there.
Well, they're a Packer. I saw someone who said the Packers should go roll out Malik Willis next year instead of Jordan Love.
Because that'll solve things.
Yep.
All right, let's get to the games we actually previewed, and we can start with the best one here. The Patriots, their first
The best one? We got a different one. New Orleans over Carolina? I mean,
This
come on.
was the best game.
This was the best game.
Okay.
The New Orleans at Carolina was the funniest outcome. This was the best game.
Yeah.
The Patriots, the first test in a couple weeks, they go down to Tampa Bay and face off against Baker Mayfield, and the Bucs coming off a bye. Unfortunately, the Bucs coming off a bye did not really mean they were much healthier, still missing some key pieces. And the Patriots, due to explosive plays, get the job done. When 28-23, Travion Henderson has multiple 50-plus yard rushing touchdowns. Complete a long bomb to Matt Collins. You get Kyle Williams involved. He takes a pass and runs it to the end zone for like 80 yards. So numerous, not even just like explosives of 15 yards or more. Massive, massive plays. And that, to me, kind of told the difference in this game is they win 28-23, like I said. Y'all's thoughts on this game?
Talk about trusting your team, knowing your team, and executing in every massive moment. Drake May had his Heisman moment for me. He was not efficient, but he was damn good when he needed to be. The red zone pick was bad, and I think he'll clean that up. I don't think that'll be an issue going forward, but he made the 3 biggest throws of the game in 3 absolutely crucial spots. The 72-yard touchdown to Kyle Williams, which is Kyle Williams' 3rd catch of his career, is his rookie season. Goes for 72 yards and a touchdown. The 4th and goal throw to end the first half to Stephon Diggs. And then the 3rd and 14 over the top to Matt Collins, like you said, Jack. Now they throws a pick at the end of that drive, so they don't score off of that throw, but it's a massive throw at that moment in the game. Maturity cannot be understated. For Travion Henderson to look back at the coaches to see if I should go down, handling and trusting the coaches when asked to is essentially, when they take a knee on 1st and goal. For Drake May to have that play call come into his ear, trust it and say, okay, we know what we're going to do, and he takes essentially the knee at the end of the first half. When that's a questionable coaching decision, of course. It ends up panning out in their favor. They win the middle 8 resoundingly because of that. The last 4 minutes and the first 4 minutes of the second half, with the 14-play, 78-yard touchdown drive to end the half, and the 4th and goal completion to Stephon Diggs, which what an incredible throw from Drake May and catch from Stephon, and then Travion Henderson has the pop run to start the second half. They were plus 14 in that middle 8, and so now New England has won 7 straight games, have a 1.5 game lead on the Buffalo Bills in the division and a head-to-head, and they still play the Jets twice, the Giants, the Bengals the week before Joe Burrow returns, and then the Dolphins in the final week of the season. They answered all questions.
Agreed.
That is the takeaway from the game. The thought coming into the game was, oh, well, they have wins. The Buffalo win we give credit to, but their other wins, do we really give that much credit to? Surviving against the Atlanta Falcons, a win over the Dolphins and the Saints. Do we really want to give them that much credit for those games? They deserve all the credit now because they have two unbelievably massive wins against playoff teams on the road in the Buffalo Bills and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They'll get another one of those shots later in the season. They're going to play at Baltimore, and I imagine they're going to be competitive in that game and maybe respond to that game as well. It feels, for Mike Vrabel in his first year with this franchise, it just feels like, okay, this is his fourth year coaching this team. This team does not miss a step. Defensively, they play with so much fire. When Baker's completing a pass in this game, there are 2-3 Patriot defenders right there converging in to get the tackle. It's not leaving guys on islands there. They have playmakers all over the field, and they are showing it offensively. And then Drake May is ascended in his second year. There is no sophomore slump for this guy right now. He is playing the best out of the second-year guys for quarterbacks for last year's class, without question. And it's just such an impressive win. They are, of the 8-2 teams, I think it's easiest to say that they are the least fraudulent going forward because you don't have the questions with the head coach, with Mike Vrabel. You have questions with what Sean Payton has done, and then just Shane Steichen in clutch moments. And then their quarterback, I think, is playing the best out of them. Even with how good Daniel Jones has been, Drake May has just been dynamic. And he's just made huge, huge plays for them. You can't understate, though, the impact of the end of that first half and then the start of that second half. That was the only reason Tampa Bay loses this game. And so with that, I don't think much negatively should be taken away from Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I agree that the takeaway is all about the Patriots because for Tampa Bay, you played close, and we're still just the whole thing has been like we're waiting for them to get healthy. We're waiting for them to get healthy. Bucky Irving's still not back. Chris Godwin's still not back. So your wide receiver 2 is Tez Johnson, who is fine, and he's a legit NFL receiver, but he doesn't have any business being wide receiver 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then the offensive line, sucks you lost the game, Tampa Bay, but I'm still waiting for them to get healthy, and if they get healthy and then keep losing games, sure, I'll be concerned. But just really, really well done by the Patriots. Talking about the maturity of this team, it's one of the biggest reasons people hyped up the Vrabel hire is they were like, he's going to be able to come in and get this young team ready to win games in the NFL and not make stupid moments in clutch situations, and they've done that. So props to him and props to them for buying in.
I think on the Tampa Bay side, it felt like until Drake May throws that pick in the red zone, every single big momentum play outside of their first drive, Tampa Bay's, where they go down and take the lead, had gone towards New England. Like I said, the end of the first half, the start of the second half. But even the Mac Hollins play over the top, Travion Henderson having that pop to start the second half, the Kyle Williams play where it's one-on-one essentially. Drake May makes it an outstanding throw. It gets over the DB, and then it's just Williams' speed, and there's no one over there because all of the routes are going to the left, and Williams was running a drag. And so they had no chance. They were in man-to-man coverage. Every momentum play was going New England's way, and yet we're still sitting there with 4th and 3, Tampa Bay's down 5. And Baker gets sacked, but if he converts that, I fully expect Baker to have another game-winning drive in that game. So I for Tampa Bay, your takeaway has to be, I think, we just felt like every momentum play, every bounce went their way, and yet still we had our shot at the end of the game, and we're going to take that every single time.
Yeah, they've yet to really have a game where it's like, oh, well, they're outmatched. Mm-hmm. Like, they can't go win this game. And so that's really promising as you look forward to. Sure, you wouldn't see the Patriots until the Super Bowl, and, and the odds of two specific teams meeting up in the Super Bowl is small, but even the NFC teams they played, it's like, hey, we were right there with them, and we went and got the win, or, oh, we were right there with them and couldn't get it done. But next time, I love our odds, so I completely agree. That's a great take.
Yeah, and it's also like their schedule and the way the playoffs could shape up. I would say they're getting close to not locked in because there's so much football left to play. But you've got the loss to the Eagles, who are right now the 1 seed. You got the loss to the Lions, who are right now the 3 seed. You're sitting there as the 4 seed. You do have a win over the Seahawks, but the Seahawks are playing really hot right now. They're 7-2. I don't know how many losses they're going to pick up. And then you got the Rams, who are just outside as the 5 seed, who you play in a couple weeks. So I feel like you should feel pretty comfortable about a 4 seed right now. That's a real possibility. That's where you end up. I don't think you should be concerned about losing that division. The next best team in that division is the Carolina Panthers. They're
LOL.
5-5. Then you got the Falcons, who are 3-6, and the Saints, who are 2-8. And so I feel like you're comfortably going to win the division. And I feel like the exponential increase in trying to get above the 4 seed is going to be so hard. Because there's the like I said, the Seahawks, the Lions, the Eagles, the Rams are all going to be vying for those top spots. And you've already got the tiebreaker loss to 2 of them. And that's when the coming in healthy matters so much. Because I don't know if you're going to be playing your best football in the next 2 to 3 weeks to try and win 12 games and get in those top 1, 2, 3 seeds. But if you can get healthy in the next 8 weeks and then you're healthy going into the playoffs, that's when it really, really matters because you can take advantage of a light division in the NFC South and try to avoid some of those injuries down the stretch and really capitalize on the easier matchups and get healthy going into the playoffs and click.
Yeah, I agree.
I do think there is though, even after I gave the speech of there is no cause for concern, there has to be, I think, a little bit of a creeping thought, and I wonder if Bucs fans feel this way. But spoiler alert, I moved Tampa Bay down. I think it was
2 tiers, I believe.
down 2 tiers. Yes, down 2 tiers on the power rankings, and this is because of their results in games against teams of similar caliber. They went from tier 2 to tier 4. The games that they have lost are against the Patriots,
Sure.
the Lions, and the Eagles. Those are all playoff teams. Those are all going to be playoff teams. And they don't really have like a dominant performance over anybody as well on top of that. And so that hurts them. That's why they dropped from a power ranking perspective. They have the game-winning drive against the Atlanta Falcons, the Texans, a 2-point win against the Jets. The Saints game was not pretty, but they won by 20. Like, the only one they have is they have a really good trump card, for me at least, a 38-35 win over the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
You have 2 more of these games going forward in a pivotal 3-week stretch post your bye week where they're at Buffalo and then they're at the Los Angeles Rams the next 2 weeks. It hurts losing the first one of those 3 at home to the New England Patriots, but I feel like they need to split one of those 2 games on the road to have confidence about them come the postseason.
Sure.
Because they aren't playing up. It's not that they're not playing up to the caliber. I think they're in these games for the most part.
The only one they haven't been in was the Lions game.
And even still, they had chances in the fourth quarter in that game, only down 8. You have to at least get a win at some point to prove that you're going to win playoff games. And so I think that is going to be a concern for them going forward. They're going to make the postseason because their last 5 games are just cakewalk.
I mean, you get to play in that division. So congrats.
6 games, yes, with the Cardinals. But the Saints, the Falcons, the Panthers twice, and the Dolphins, they are going to make the postseason. There's not a question there. They're probably going to get to 12 wins. But I do think there is cause for concern for how they've played against playoff teams. And so I think the next 2 weeks they have to split in Buffalo and at the Los Angeles Rams. They have to win one of those 2 games.
Last thing I'll say is also a thing of you've been banged up for so long. It's now a thing of, like, are you really ever going to get healthy? Like, people keep cropping up with injuries, and then the injuries are lingering. So, like, when they come back, do I trust them to really be 100%? Just something to keep an eye on. Anything else?
No.
Cool.
All right, do we want to do this one or save this one for last?
We can do that one. I think it's fine. My co-host, JP's New Orleans Saints, go to the Panthers and pull off a big win for a pride and I don't really know the word. I told you so moment for JP, as Panthers fans were all over him for his preseason Panthers takes. But they go win 17-7 as the Panthers offense really struggles against not a good defense. And they largely struggle because the passing attack is disastrous for the Panthers. Because, one, Bryce Young is not a good quarterback, and two, the receiver room is not very good either. But y'all's thoughts on this game?
There were 250 comments on our Panthers TikTok of my take of the Panthers season. There were 87 comments and 280 likes on a Panthers fan page quote tweet of that TikTok. That's roughly 616 engagements, 99% of them hating on the take. Those takes being split among three different things. One being, LOL, he's a Saints fan. Two being, you're a dumbass. And three being, oh, we actually do have really good roster and elite players. Since then, I have responded to a ton of the people who have, made these claims. There have just been 20 responses back. I probably sent out about 100 responses myself. This is a direct representation of your fan base. When it's going good, oh, we're elite, we're a great team. But when we lose 31 to the Bills and to Tyler flipping Shuck, crickets. And I wish we had a cricket sound effect to play on the soundboard because I'd love to play it right now. I told you so. They're not that good. We all believe that. Not I told you so to you guys, but I told you so to the
Correct.
camera.
Yeah.
And the Panthers fans and the Panthers fan base. Bryce Young again doesn't have a game over 200 passing yards. Tyler Shuck has started 2 games this year, has as many games with 200 passing yards as Bryce Young.
Congrats to
He
Tyler
averages more than 200 passing yards per game as well. Bryce Young well below 200 passing yards. It was really a sight to behold. The Saints give up the opening drive touchdown. Panthers have all the momentum. 12 plays, 68 yards. Bryce, he threw a pick on the first drive. I know you didn't watch the game. He threw a pick on the first drive. After he had thrown the ball, the Saints roughed the passer, and so the pick gets voided. And then Rico Dowdle scores a touchdown. That's the only points they scored the whole game. Is the opening drive touchdown. In the first half, it's punts. After that, they have 4 straight after the touchdown. In the second half, it's turnovers. A fumble, a turnover on downs, and a Bryce Young, what are you doing pick, where he just throws it to Alontae Taylor, thinking there's no one guarding Ted McMillan, I
He
guess.
probably couldn't see.
That would be my guess.
Yeah.
Is he couldn't see over his right tackle, and so he couldn't see Alontae Taylor sitting there. Carolina also in the second half was bailed out on after a blocked field goal. The Saints block a field goal in this game. The ball flies after the block past the line of scrimmage. It touches a Saint. The Panthers recover it, and apparently by rule, it's not a dead ball. Since the Saints touched it, it's a live ball, and the Panthers got the ball back post the block field goal. 4 plays later, they fumble the ball on their own 25. So, again, all the momentum there. Just take the game away. You should win this game against the Saints. It wasn't there. Rico Dowdle was held in check. He had just 53 rushing yards, and top 10 running back in the league. Chuba Hubbard had 14 yards. So, yeah.
That's top 10 stuff right there.
All that being said, the Panthers were buns. They're fraudulent buns. But Tyler Shuck was really good, and the Saints were really, really good in this game. Shuck was making big-time plays. I'd urge you to go watch the highlights if you want to have some, Shuck hopium going forward. Saints were 8 for 17 on third down, 2 for 3 on fourth, including a 3rd and 12 touchdown to Juwan Johnson, the 3rd and 6 sealer, essentially, to Chris Olave, where Olave made a one-handed catch, which was incredible. 3rd and 7 to Olave for a deep touchdown over the top. Taysom Hill had the 3rd down carry to really actually seal the game. And then Shuck on that first drive, scrambling around for a long time, like Mahomes level scramble. It actually looked a lot like the J.J. McCarthy scramble at the end of the game and the Josh Allen scramble in the Dolphins game.
Yeah.
On 3rd and 16, picks up a first down to Juwan Johnson. Chuck was really, really good. I'm not going to say he's the guy going forward because the Carolina Panthers are fraudulent buns, like I said. So I need to see consistent performances of that from Tyler Shuck. But he looked the part. He played the part. And the Panthers lost to the damn 1-8 Saints and Tyler Shuck in his second start ever. Their postseason hopes are dashed. They're gone. It's over. Your number 1 overall pick is terrible, literally. It sucks to see it because I love Bryce Young.
He was sick at Alabama.
I loved Bryce Young in Alabama. I got to see him play in person twice against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. He was really, really damn good in college. His escapability in college, he would just make plays happen out of nowhere. That's why, like, his undersized part of his game, the fact that he's, an inch taller than Josh Hubbard, didn't matter because he would escape. He'd make big plays against SEC defenders. He would somehow find someone open. He was clutch, unbelievably clutch. And now he gets into the NFL and he can't even find consistent. They don't find consistent plays down the field through the air.
Yeah.
And because of that, they have to rely so much on the run, which is why they lead the league in rushing attempts. And in a day when the rushing game doesn't work, where Rico Dell has 53 rushing yards, you're going to score 7 points, and that's it. And so they are just held back severely by the quarterback play. And I don't know where you go going forward. I think you have to get rid of him at some point. He'll be a backup somewhere. He's too good to not. But the guy is just not a starting quarterback.
Sure.
Is it on Carolina a little bit for not putting weapons around him until maybe Tet McMillan? Hell yeah, probably. But at the same time, guys have made it work without weapons. Guys have made plays without weapons.
Should at least look better than this.
Agreed, 100%. And I say the same thing. I've said the same thing with Spencer Rattler. I don't care that you've shown promises, that you've actually kind of put up some decent numbers, you've been in games. Quarterbacks in the NFL, it's about winning games. Bryce Young doesn't win games. I think he has 8 wins total across 3 years. That's not good enough for a number 1 overall pick. I don't care how bad the roster is. Like I said, it was going to be. You have to go out there and win games, and Bryce just doesn't simply do that.
Sure. And the Panthers fans, at least the ones I saw, seem to maybe be coming around to that after the performance Sunday. The funniest thing to me about this game is all the Panthers players after being like, the energy in the locker room was bad pregame, and basically we got too big for our britches and got ahead of ourselves and too pumped up, and pride comes before the fall type beat. Just our heads got too big because you were 5-4.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you had beaten the Packers. You got one big win, and then all of a sudden you don't know how to act. And so then you come and get humbled by the Saints at home. And it's a rookie in the post-game conference having to say this, and Nick Scordon, gig 'em. But it's just like also a clear lack of leadership, not even just a lack of talent. Like, how does that happen? How?
Yeah.
You escape a win in Lambeau. Huge win. Massive win. I'll give you credit. And you immediately go, oh, man, we're like that. We're hot shit. We don't got to worry about the Saints. And you know what it looked like to me on Sunday? 2 bad teams playing football.
Agreed.
Except even worse for the Panthers. You looked worse than the other bad team. The Saints that are trying to tank and lose to get better draft pick. The diabolical place to be, but very, very funny.
Yeah.
Anything else, or do we move on to our last one?
I thought Tyler Shuck's post-game press conference was really mature.
Sure.
Which I expect from a
He's-
26-year-old rookie.
He's old enough.
So it's not...
He's not 26, actually.
He is.
Is he actually?
He's a 26-year-old rookie.
Oh, dang.
Didn't you see my thing where, like, the pass he threw, his first touchdown pass, was to his teammate on the 2019 Oregon team?
Yeah,
Yes.
I did see that.
He's been in the league for He hasn't been in the league for a long time. He is 26 and he's a rookie. When normally rookies are in finishing their 4th year at this point.
I'll say he's fixing to try and get his extension.
He was a backup to Justin Herbert
Yeah,
when Herbert was a sophomore.
that's crazy.
So, no, I thought his response in the postgame press conference was really, really mature. He said, I could have been better. We should have been better in key spots. And I don't think he's wrong in that. And that is coming from a guy who in his second start and his first NFL win was 19 for 27, 282, and had 2 touchdowns for a 129 passer rating. That is still him saying he came out there and said, I can be better. So I really loved that response. I just want to see it week over week. I don't want us to win games, but if we're going to win games and shuck plays like this, I'm okay with it.
Sure.
Because we won't have to draft a quarterback in the draft next year, and we can just go and get some elite playmaker defensively or offensively that can help us next year and going forward. But Panthers fans, I told you so. Not surprised to see crickets from a lot of them.
I will say this, and I feel like that's the case for most fan bases when they get told so. Like, there's not a whole lot of fan bases that are going to come back from a told so situation and
Sure.
chirp.
I would hope at least the fan page would, because if you're trying to like,
Well, technically they aren't 0-17, so JP is still wrong. That is
true.
Yeah. Panthers fans' opinions.
Panthers on Tap should have at least said that because we called him out on Twitter, and he has not responded. So
I'm not surprised.
I-
I don't often go into my opponents when State loses football. I don't typically go into opposing.
I'm not surprised either.
I don't either.
But if someone added me on Twitter, I would respond.
Yeah.
That was one of the replies I got was, bro hasn't tweeted in months, and now wants to start chirping. And I said, I don't tweet. I don't do this stuff. I told y'all, I feel like a degenerate after doing
Sure.
that for a couple hours. I talk on a podcast 3 times a week for 6 hours.
That's enough.
That's where I get my words out.
Sure.
I don't do it over Twitter because that stuff is it felt so degenerative. I loved every second of it, but it was like, man,
Guilty pleasure.
this
type
is
beat.
what burners
Yeah.
do 24/7. I
Yeah.
cannot imagine this lifestyle at all.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Sure.
But shout out to New Orleans, who dat, and the Saints are 2-8. I hope we don't win any more games, but I hope Tyler Shuck continues to look like that because I honestly would rather not have to draft a quarterback.
It's always easier when you have your guy. I agree. Now we can get to the grossness we witnessed last night. The Eagles go to Lambeau. The Packers are fresh off a loss, and it's just a defensive slugfest. Though I would argue it was as much bad offense as it was good defense. It's scoreless at halftime. The scoring doesn't pick up much more after that, and the Eagles end up winning 10-7, despite Nick Sirianni's best attempt to let the Packers come back and tie it. Y'all's thoughts on this game? Should we start with Nick Sirianni?
Yeah, what are you doing? Just to think through it. So there's 20. I think it was like 30. There was 33 seconds left.
Yeah.
It is 10-7. You have the ball. I think it was at the 34 or the 35.
Yeah.
Would have been like a 52-yarder. It was technically into the wind, which there was a pretty decent gust that night. Jake Elliott hasn't been necessarily very accurate from that distance. It is 4th and 4.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that.
4th and 6.
4th and 6.
Okay, 4th and 6. Even worse. Green Bay has no timeouts. I understand you pick up the first down, you win the game. But if you kick a field goal, you win the game as well. Because now there's 29 seconds left and you're up 6. And they have to complete a Hail Mary. But not only do they have to complete a Hail Mary, they have to get down to the spot to be able to complete a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
By going for it and not converting, you give them the ball at the 35. And now they completed something on 1st and 10, they would have tied the game without question. But going incomplete on 1st and 10, where they have Christian Watson over the top, honestly, maybe he could have caught that ball.
Sure.
And had they made that play, it would have been tied no matter what because they would have the ball at like the 25-yard line. Had they just picked something up short on that first one and then completed that pass over the middle, they would have had a really, really good chance to tie the game. But there's never I don't care that you feel it's risky to kick the field goal because with the wind, he said we would have had to kick it lower. There's a chance it could get blocked. So be it. Kicking the field goal is always the right play there because you extend the lead to 6 and you make them have to at least get down the field and then complete a Hail Mary. The percentages are so much lower. If you just have good protection on one field goal kick, you give yourself a chance. And even if you miss it, you're in the same spot you were. At least you took your chance to kick the field goal and get the points. But then to go for it, to see an all-out blitz, Packers go cover 0, and you don't have like a slant route or anything like that. You just throw it deep to A.J. Brown in double coverage.
Yeah, it's not like you whipped out your best play call or anything.
There's not like a screen pass to Saquon Barkley. Saquon doesn't just leak out on a little swing route. We hit Saquon. It makes no sense. I've pegged this team. I'm going to use that verb in this one.
It's apt.
As a team that should not be questioned. But sadly, I'm going to remove that and say that they should be questioned going forward.
This is special circumstances.
Because of coaching decisions and decisions down the stretch. I really, really trust this team to pull it off in big moments 90% of the time. But their 10% is because they allow it to be a 10%. It should be 100%. There should be no questions in these late spots in games. But Nick Sirianni has made his decision, and it's worse than even like what Dan Campbell will decide at times to go for. It's boneheaded. It makes no sense.
There's also too like Nick Sirianni hasn't always been the most loved coach there, and it's not like this is the first time he's made bad decisions. A lot of us just calm down because, well, he won a Super Bowl, and so that gives you, a lot of grace for past actions and even some for future actions. But it's to the point it almost feels like he enjoys doing stupid stuff, and then they win just so he can be like, screw you, I won anyway. Like, you don't get to say that was a bad decision because it worked out, which is just not how that works. Because the Packers you just made it so much easier for them to go tie it, or even, tie it. I mean, the kick was nowhere close, but in theory they got to a spot.
The first one was.
In theory they got
which is crazy. The refs let them kick that first one.
Yeah,
agreed.
In theory they got to a spot where a kick was makeable, and that really shouldn't have even been the case with the way the Packers were moving the football. That being said, though, they do get the win. I feel bad for the Packers' defense. You hold the Eagles to 10 points at home. The second straight week you've held opponents to under 20 points, you don't win either game. Because the offense is just so sluggish, conservative right now. There's no explosiveness. My read on it is they've had the injuries, right? And now you've even lost Tucker Kraft last week. And the passing game isn't really clicking. And so they've gotten scared and they've gotten conservative. And so where they don't even really try very much stuff. And they just run it very vanilla. And it's so easy to stop because of that. And it's like, sure, I understand stuff isn't really working. Your receiver core isn't great. Matthew Golden maybe hasn't made the splash you were hoping. Tucker Kraft's hurt. There's offensive line injuries. But you got to go try and make something happen instead of just being like, oh, we're going to run inside zone. Let's run inside zone again. Oh, let's run a little, slant. Let's try and out-route this. There just doesn't seem to be tons of creativity that we've known LaFleur to have. Mm-hmm. And so that's really frustrating. I think it's a lack of confidence thing, in my opinion.
I don't disagree with you. Matthew Golden didn't play in this game either, so there's another health one. Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, and Tucker Kraft all did not play. Elton Jenkins got hurt in this game. Their center.
He's going on IR.
And that's, it's going to be a tough one. Mississippi State legend, Elton Jenkins. I think confidence is a part of it. I also it's just frustrating because even with these injuries, I still feel like they have the playmakers to go beat a Philly secondary that's been tested and has not been perfect this year.
It's got to be better than this. I
100%.
don't care who's on your team and who's injured. As an NFL franchise that has legit aspirations, it can't look this bad. It's inexcusable for it to look this bad.
And it has looked better. I'd even say it looked really, really good 2 years ago. And that's pre-Josh Jacobs with essentially the same weapons and a Jordan Love in his first year as a starter. And that offense is really dynamic a ton. And they, punched the Cowboys. They beat the Lions on Thanksgiving. They won big games and big moments. And now that the defense has got figured out, the offense just isn't there. Is that the people have tape on Jordan Love? I hope that isn't the case because that's a pretty harsh reality given the amount of money you've given him and committed to him over the next 3 or 4 years. But I agree, Jack. You have to figure it out. You got to figure it out somehow. They're 5-3, and they really realistically should be 9-0. So I won't take back my claim of thinking they were going to be the 1 seed because they screwed it up, not me.
You're pulling the Josh Pate.
I'm going to pull the Josh Pate there. The players and coaches screwed that up.
And refs. Players, coaches, and refs.
I haven't seen an official script Packers game yet, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's his thing. Is like he doesn't get things wrong. It's players, coaches, and refs that get it wrong.
It's just gonna feel, and we're not there yet because they're still 5-3. They're still in the playoffs. But if you waste this defense, and that's currently what they're doing, they have time to figure it out. But it's malpractice. It's inexcusable. Because simply defenses this good don't come around. They don't give up points. They suffocate you. They hit Devontae Smith over the top, but they're good at limiting explosives overall as a whole. But it's funny because the way the offense is playing right now, the offense just lets other teams do that to them as well. Mm-hmm. Basically be like, you can just keep everything in front of us because we're going to keep it so simple. You don't really have to worry that much about getting beat over the top. And so our defense will just boa constrictor you. But, hey, you can just turn around and do that to us right back. And then it's what's going to give, who's going to make the one big play to win the game.
And they have to figure it out because it is looking this way that the NFC is going to be a full-on arms race in the postseason of dynamic offenses and then defenses that are really opportunistic and can shut you down at big moments. Just think of the playoff teams right now. Philly is like that, where they can have good offensive performance, but their defense, they won 10-7 in your building. Seattle has been really dynamic defensively, but also offensively. The Detroit Lions, of course, dynamic offensively, can be opportunistic defensively. Tampa Bay, if they're healthy offensively. Los Angeles, Chicago, if they get going offensively. Those are all teams you're going to have to beat to make the Super Bowl, which I think is really realistic expectations given the way your defense is playing. And because of those being the teams you're going to have to play, it doesn't matter how damn good the defense is playing because the defense is not going to hold those teams to under 7 points.
Correct.
So your offense has to figure something out, and your offense has to figure out a way to score damn points because with your losses now, you can't even rely on the fact that you're going to play in 10-degree weather at Lambeau Field. That's not a guarantee right now.
For sure.
And you're not guaranteed to have that home field advantage. So it is a complete mishandling of these games so far, and their offense has to figure it out. If Green Bay is going to have any chance to go on a Super Bowl run, because you look at the other teams in the NFC, I don't think you can say without a shadow of doubt that they are better than really anyone but maybe Chicago.
They're not playing like it right now.
They haven't played Chicago yet, and that will be proven. They still have 5 division games left, and they have the same amount of losses as the Lions and Bears, so they're tied there at the division. So home field advantage is still in front of them, but they've got a lot of stuff to figure out.
Yeah, completely agree.
I can't wait till the end of the season when we can have the discussion around some of my Packers takes. Didn't like the Matthew Golden pick. Y'all both did. He has not had 100 yards receiving and doesn't have a touchdown this year. I wasn't a huge fan of Jordan Love coming into the season. JP had him as an A-tier quarterback behind only Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts, ahead of Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott, Caleb Williams, Sam Darnold. So I'm not going to say that those things have all settled because I also was very
Only
wrong.
halfway there.
Only halfway there. But if I could have been known that I was going to be at this point, after game 1, especially the Packers, I was shaking my boots. I was like, this team, I mean, people were joking about them going undefeated after the way they dismantled the Lions.
People in their building were saying that.
Yeah. I think we didn't say what happened on the show, but I think we addressed it as like this team is just so good. This defense is so good. They've got so many weapons at wide receiver. None of them I feel like were true ones, but when you have so many options, like it's hard for a defense to stop all of it. But it just hasn't clicked like that, like we thought it would for the entire season. So
that's the funny part too is like week 1, it's not like their offense played fantastic. You don't need this offense to play S-tier games to win.
Yeah.
Can you just play a B-tier game on a consistent basis and you'll score more than 7 points and you'd win a game like this? It's you just can't suck offensively, and they have sucked offensively too much this season. And so that's just really, really frustrating.
Yeah.
Shall we get onto the pyramid?
Let's do it.
Yes.
Take us away, JP.
So sadly, we have another team joining the graveyard this week with the Cleveland Browns, and I'll go ahead and, since apologizing is something I have to do more often apparently, I would like to apologize for not have already putting them in the graveyard, because last week I said they were going to stay on watch, and I thought they would beat the clearly tanking Jets. And I thought they would be competitive maybe this weekend with Lamar and the Ravens. They could still do that, but they'll do that from the graveyard instead, because how do you lose the tanking Jets? Time to start Shedeur Sanders going forward. But honestly, had you been told at the beginning of the season that it would take 10 weeks for the Cleveland Browns to join kind of like an eliminated group, I would be shocked, to be honest, given their outlook. But here they are, joining the graveyard after Week 10. We are now up to
7, 8, 9
9 teams of the 32, 23 to go. Now we go to the teams left off. There are 4 teams that have left off. The Falcons stay left off. I'm not going to put them in the graveyard because, like I said last week, I love getting to talk about how they lost every single week. So they may stay here forever in purgatory before they're sent to the graveyard. Falcons going to Falcon. Have to say that out front. They led 17-13 after the first drive field goal in the second half. They were given the ball 3 more times with the lead. They had 3 straight punts. Indy, in those 3 drives among them, had 2 turnovers and a field goal, a fumble and a turnover on downs. Just an utter refusal to put a team that was handing you a win away, and another devastating loss in overtime, and the Falcons are 3-6. Clicks. The Carolina Panthers, I will re-say what I said earlier in that game breakdown. There were 250 comments on our Panthers TikTok of my take of them on this season. There were 87 comments and 280 likes on a Panthers fan page quote tweet of said TikTok. That's roughly 616 engagements. 99% of them were hating. In my roughly 100 degenerate responses and clapbacks at these Panthers fans, there have just been 20 responses after this weekend. This is a direct representation of your fan base and your team. When it is going good, which going good is very relative here, they were kind of scraping by with wins and had an impressive win against the Packers. But when you lose by 31 to the Buffalo Bills and lose to Tyler Flippin' Shuck, crickets, including from your own fan page, who asked, "Are we serious?" We are serious. The Panthers are left off, and I'm going to put them on graveyard watch as well. They play the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. In Carolina. Not in Carolina. In Atlanta. The Bengals stay where they're at. Bye week. No change. Joe Burrow is going to return on Thanksgiving against the Ravens. I don't think it'll change much. But, man, do those losses the last 2 weeks against the New York Jets and the Chicago Bears hurt so damn much, because if Joe Burrow's returning at Thanksgiving, we had those 2 wins, we would be 5-4 right now. Joe Flacco just has to maybe win one more game. You're 6-6 when Joe Burrow returns. Instead, we're looking at maybe 4-8 when Joe Burrow returns. That's really concerning. And they'll get up to 9-8 and probably miss the playoffs by one game. Once again, it's because they choked 2 games to the Jets and the Bears. The Jaguars are moving off of the pyramid, and rightfully so. They led 17-0 against Davis Mills and lost. That's inexcusable. But they also led by 19 entering the fourth quarter against Davis Mills and lost. That is even more inexcusable. They are left off. And now we can move to what is kind of becoming another Christmas tree pyramid.
We're getting close to the holidays, so
Yes, I can't wait for.
In the festive spirit, we're gonna do another Christmas tree.
Absolutely.
It's even. I didn't even think about this with the red and the green moving up and down. You got little lights on there.
Yes. Good point.
I love it.
I love it. Steelers are going to stay where they're at on the pyramid. They didn't follow the formula. They gave up 20 points and didn't score 20 plus. For me, this is why you can't overreact to big performances like their performance they had last week against the Indianapolis Colts. You have to see consistency from these kinds of teams week after week before you can then say, oh, now we can move them up. Oh, now we can move them down. That's how power rankings work, and that's why the Steelers will stay where they're at, even though they had the big, impressive victory against the Colts 2 weeks ago. The 49ers are going to stay where they're at. Look, they can't play defense, but how could you with the guys that they've lost? And I would like to make the argument that Brock Purdy, his career is being saved by Mac Jones. Mac Jones is 5-2 as a starter this year. That would make you assume, I think the common person would assume, and I think even in-house as well, that Brock Purdy in those games would be the same 5-2. But I wonder if people actually believe that Brock Purdy would be 5-2 across those 7 games. I think that is very much up for debate. The Dallas Cowboys had a bye week, so there's no movement for them. And the Minnesota Vikings, they're going to stay where they're at. The game should have been much worse. I give credit to their defense for forcing 5 field goal attempts. JJ makes big throws and then questionable throws. Like you have the throw on the 4th and 10 and the 4th and goal to get them down the field. But 2 interceptions in this game. It's expected, though, for a rookie quarterback, which he's technically, I would call it a rookie year for him. It is expected for him. But the Vikings will stay at the bottom of the pyramid or Christmas tree, whatever you want to call it. Tier 5. The Denver Broncos are going to stay where they're at as well. The only good thing about that performance is that it was on Thursday, so everyone kind of forgot about it. The Chicago Bears are going to move up for me. Maybe they were extended a lifeline in this game because Jackson Dart was kind of giving it to them. But when Dart got hurt, you can't not give them credit for responding and pulling this one off, down 10 late in the 4th quarter. Jack, I'm sorry, but that Commanders-Bears game is holding unbelievable magnitude on both teams' seasons again. Last year, the Commanders won it, and they went on their run. The Chicago won one more game the rest of the season, and we may see the save for Jack's Commanders.
I'm fine if we only win one more game this season.
Fair.
I will say I really wish we played again next year because it'd just be fun to continue the experiment, but we won't. So
that's like
Maybe in the
completely out of
playoffs.
the picture.
it's not out of the picture, but I don't think it's likely. No, because there's no way.
Unless y'all both finishes like the 3s in your NFC in the NFC. If the Bears
True.
finish behind the
True.
Packers and
They
the
could-
Lions, and you finish behind the Eagles and the Cowboys,
So there's a chance we finish
But,
as 3s.
ahead of the Giants. Yeah.
Okay. No, I take it back. I take it back.
I think that's probably favored at this point at to be a potential to happen. The Chargers are going to stay where they're at. It's remarkable that the Steelers were even in this game for as long as they were. Of course, the Chargers completely flipped the way they're playing football offensively with the bad offensive line. They're getting the ball out immediately. Herbert had his quickest time to throw all season at 2.33 seconds on Sunday night. That is benefiting Quentin Johnston a ton in fantasy football, so maybe if Quentin Johnston's on waivers, he's not. I do like making that joke, though, because the waiver TikToks in fantasy football this year have been terrible. They have just been constantly guys that everyone already has.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of an example. Go ahead and pick up. I did see one. Go ahead and pick up George Kittle.
That's
before
crazy.
he got back from injury.
Yeah,
Because-
or Rashee Rice when he was coming back from suspension. Go get Rashee Rice
Yeah.
off of the waiver wire.
Well,
so-
try to trade for Rashee Rice.
Yeah.
Like the guy who drafted Rashee Rice wasn't going to be okay with not playing him.
Sure. I also saw something. I saw one, and it was like, pick up a Rondé Gadsden, but it was like 3 weeks post the Rondé Gadsden breakout, and it's like, if you're in any sort of respectable league, he got picked up probably 2 weeks ago, if not a week ago, and it's like,
Yeah.
all right, bro. And then they do the thing too. It's like, last week I told you to pick up this person.
Yes.
It's like, okay, you were right, but then if you go watch the one from last week, they put out like 10, and they were wrong on 9.
Yeah.
But they're like, you should listen to me because I went 1 for 10. Which, I mean, you gotta get traction somehow. I get it, but still funny.
The Green Bay Packers are going to drop down to tier 5. They've been as high as number 1
Yeah.
at the beginning of our pyramid this season. They are selling a dynamic defense. I still think this is a very high ceiling team with that defense, but the offense has got to figure something out. The Houston Texans have started 0-3. They are now 4-5. They outscored the Jags 26-0 entering the fourth quarter, and they're going to stay where they're at on tier 5 because we get to tier 4 and we've got some really high ceiling teams that we've seen really low floors from. Starting with the Indianapolis Colts. Competitive resolve. I talk about it a ton every single week. Daniel Jones did not give up. Jonathan Taylor had his best fantasy performance of the year and had the best fantasy performance of the year by anybody. When the game was eventually put on his shoulders, that being Daniel Jones was 5 for 7 for 57 yards, had 21 rushing yards. The long third down carry, the 4th and 2 to Tyler Warren. You have to give credit in a clutch moment. He responded when he needed to. You can say it's against the Falcons. You're right to say that, but great teams find a way to win games they shouldn't, and the Colts did that on Sunday morning. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to drop from tier 2 to tier 4. Baker needs his guys back. Every single momentum play went to the Patriots, and you have to give Tampa Bay credit for even being in that game. But we have now seen a potential problem with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and playoff teams. The loss to Philly, the loss to Detroit, the loss to the Patriots. That's 0-3 against teams that are in the playoffs right now. And you have 2 weeks going forward against Buffalo and against Los Angeles, both on the road. Got to split one of the two to kind of get away from that notion, because right now they are not competitive really against these playoff teams. They are competitive. They aren't winning against these playoff teams, and to win playoff games, you have to beat playoff teams. So they're on tier 4 for the power rankings now, and not tier 2 anymore. The Lions, Dan Campbell started calling plays, and he went pretty well. 44 points, 546 total yards. They have now won 10 straight times in the regular season after losing. The problem, again, will be when the postseason comes, they aren't allowed. The way the postseason works, if you lose, you go home. So they don't get a second chance. They have to continue winning games. So I want to see more consistency going forward because I just only saw 1 week of consistency from them. I'm not going to move them way up the pyramid. The Ravens have moved up to tier 4. The defense is playing much better. The offense, of course, is left meat on the bone against the Vikings, having 5 field goal attempts. This is a really scary team at 4-5, and the way their defense is playing, where they've cut 20 points per game off how many they're giving up in their last 4 games, 80 yards per game. Their passer rating for the opposing quarterback is great. They're kind of turning it around defensively, and this is going to be a really dangerous team going forward, and they are a big favorite to win their division, meaning they'll at least host that first-round playoff game as well. The Buffalo Bills stay on Tier 3. Of course, it's a stunner. Allen had the 2 turnovers. James Cook had the fumble. You don't expect that from your leaders. Of course, James Cook in wins this year is averaging 23 fantasy points per game, and losses is 8. I still think, for me personally, if you're going to have as much confidence in Kansas City to still win that division, if you're going to have as much confidence in the Baltimore Ravens to still win their division, and that both of those teams are still elite, then you have to have the same confidence in the Buffalo Bills because they have done exactly what those teams have done year after year, except, of course, winning Super Bowls because no one's done that like Kansas City. So I wouldn't punt on them yet, even with the depressing performance against the Miami Dolphins. Fins up for Mike McDaniel. They've had seasons go much worse than this and still won playoff games. They shouldn't drop after this. If it continues to be a slide, maybe that's a problem going forward. But you have to have, in a power ranking, so much of it is a rich tapestry, meaning you have to go off historical data as much as you have to go off the data that's in front of you right now. You don't, like Cromie said earlier, give up after 1 week. You continue to stick with the team. So for me, Buffalo stays where they're at on the pyramid, even though there are 4 teams below them that kind of are nipping at their butt going forward. If there was any team I might move up, it might be the Ravens, but I want to see one more week of defensive performance against the Cleveland Browns. The New England Patriots, though, have moved up from Tier 4 to Tier 2. All of those competitive resolve things that I talk about.
From Tier
5, I should say.
to
Tier 5
3.
to 3.
Tier
Yeah,
5
so they
to Tier
made
3.
a Tier 2,
Two-tier
jump, but
Yes.
not 2 Tier 2.
Correct.
That is-
Apologies, but still, all of those competitive resolve things that they have, they have them. Defense is leading them. They are the number 1 against stopping the run, and so they're shutting down the run and making opposing quarterbacks beat them through the air. Drake May is making incredible plays in big moments, and now they have 2 big road wins against Buffalo and Tampa Bay to prove it, and that's why they've moved all the way up to Tier 3. They have another chance to do that against the Baltimore Ravens. And this is a true 8-2 team now, unlike the Denver Broncos, but even more so than the Indianapolis Colts, because the Colts don't have a win like this. They don't have 2 like this. The Colts will get that chance in 2 weeks after the bye against Kansas City, and maybe they can move up to Tier 3. But for now, New England is going to sit here at Tier 3 with another impressive road victory. Also still in Tier 3 is the Kansas City Chiefs. They had a bye week and should not move, but they are properly power ranked given the spread this weekend in Denver. The spread is 5.5 in favor of Kansas City, which is really, really surprising, and it obviously would not have been the spread a few weeks ago. But the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and even though they're 5-4 and 2.5 games behind Denver, they are 5.5-point favorites on the road this weekend. That's power rankings for you. Tier 2. The Philadelphia Eagles have questions on their coaching decisions. I have questions about team vibes following another A.J. Brown stinker. I have questions of, will they ever block for Saquon? Ever? I think he was like 22 for 87 yards. It's just so sad to see that as a Saquon owner in fantasy football. But I trust this team way too much to drop them. In key moments, even in that Packers game, they made big plays when they had to. I think of the first drive where they go all the way down the field and Jalen Hurts fumbles. You're converting a 3rd and 10 when Micah Parsons is chasing down Jalen Hurts. He makes an incredible throw to Will Shipley. On another 3rd down, he's able to find a conversion to Dallas Goedert over the middle. He fumbled on a run where he gets peanuts punched, but it's a great defense. Edgerrin Cooper Gig'em is a great player.
I was going to let that slide.
And he let the ball be in harm's way. they still have the tush push, and they cheated the worst they ever have last night,
It was so bad.
which I'm sad that we didn't mention that in the preview.
I meant to. Harris said it in the chat, and I just forgot to bring it up.
Yeah, I was like, I'll get to it later, and then
Yeah.
forgot. Sorry, Harris.
It was literally awful. So they still have that to their advantage, and apparently they can just fully cheat, and it won't matter. And Jalen Hurts picked up like 7 yards on that play. It's just incredulous. That can't happen. All of that. And then at the end, the long third down to Devontae Smith, they're able to complete. When they have some forward momentum and they complete Saquon on the pass and he gets down the field, they capitalize. They hit Devontae Smith to the top. When they get to the postseason, I think it'll be the same. It's been that way this year. When Jalen Hurts has had to throw the ball, he's made big plays. I trust this team too much, even though I have genuine questions and honest questions about nearly, every kind of facet of this team for the most part. I have questions, yet they win. So they're going to stay at Tier 2. The Rams, though, have moved up from Tier 3 to Tier 2. They constantly have had a 49er problem. Last year, they swept the 49ers, but the 49ers were terrible. Prior to that, they had just one win in 4 years with Sean McVay and Stafford against the 49ers. Of course, they've lost the NFC Championship to the Niners, and to Jimmy Garoppolo in a devastating fashion. They dominated San Francisco on Sunday, just dominated them. Stafford and his two weapons are just so dangerous. They play really good complementary football. Their front seven is one of the best in the league. As long as Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua stay healthy, which is a question, they, I think, are one of the top 3 teams in the league. And with Matthew Stafford playing at an MVP level, he should get more talk about that. And the Rams are Tier 2. Tier 1, I have 2 questions. How many NFL teams have led their divisional opponent by 35 points in any game?
1.
I don't know the answer to it, but not many.
Okay.
Not many really. You don't beat your divisional opponent by 35 points. You don't hold a lead by 35 points. How many of them have done it with just 8 minutes left in the second quarter?
I'm going to go with 1. I feel pretty great about saying 1 for that.
We're saying this season, right? Ever?
Just ever. Honestly, ever.
It's got to have happened before.
The only game that comes to mind where that could have been, didn't the Dolphins beat, this is not a divisional game, but didn't the Dolphins beat the Broncos like 70-0 or something?
Yes, but not a divisional game.
But
the only one I think of is the Saints game last year, kind of opened the year. They dominated Carolina.
Yeah.
But I don't think they led by 35.
I'll go do some research on that game.
This just doesn't happen. You don't defeat a divisional opponent by this much, especially when there hasn't been a change at head coach for now. This is year 3 for both McDonald and Jonathan Gannon. Again, people are finally coming around and seeing how good this Seattle team is. I'll continue to reiterate week after week, they have 2 losses, both on Sam Darnold plays at the end of the game. Both, I would argue, aren't his fault. Pass rusher, Nick Bosa bulldozes his right tackle. He fumbles the ball on the goal line. And then another one, a good pass rush from Tampa Bay and Vita Vea. He hits his center's helmet, and it's a pick. Those are their only 2 losses. Other than that, they are dominating football teams.
Y'all did not lead by 35 until the 4th quarter.
That's pretty embarrassing for y'all, not going to lie.
Yeah. My bad.
No, we're up by 30 towards the end of the 2nd quarter.
Okay.
Yep.
That's respectable.
These are that's the pyramid. And before y'all go, before y'all give any words about it, which I would expect there to be none, just look at the teams up here and think of, if you just look at a tier, look at the teams in that tier. Do you not think to yourself they're literally on the same? They should be on the same tier.
The bottom 4.
On any of them, any tier. Go look at the tier and tell me. Oh yeah, I mean the Colts, Bucks, Lions, and Ravens kind of makes sense to all be right next to each other.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, this is my best pyramid I've ever made.
Yeah, I don't really have any major gripes. I really want to drop the Bills because I get it's just 1 week, but that's a pretty inexcusable performance against a really bad team. You didn't just lose; you laid an absolute egg.
Who would you replace them?
Well, that's what I was about to say. I mean, the Lions have been inconsistent. The Ravens are on the up and up, but they started so terribly. The Buccaneers are losing. The Colts lost last week, and it took overtime to beat the Falcons, so you can't really drop them. And then I guess it's fine. I hate the Broncos. Like I really hate that team because of Bo Nix.
They're 8-2, and they're on a tier with teams that are what?
Well,
Bears are
Bears are 6-3.
6-3.
The Chargers are
7-3.
7-3. The Packers are 5-3,
5-3.
and Houston's 4-5.
They're
So-
fine where they are.
Yeah,
but the
they're-
hater in me, like y'all should be. The fact that they're 8-2 disgusts me.
I agree.
So- But it has nothing to do with your pyramid. Just
Yeah.
seeing their logo, honestly,
So
enrages me a
you'd
little
rather
bit.
so you're wishing you put them on the teams that are 5-4 and I don't know what the 49ers are, but not good. Oh, 6-4. Apologies.
Mhm.
It doesn't feel like a 6-4 team, and probably won't finish like that with all the injuries. But, yeah.
Bo Nix is playing like the second worst QB on the pyramid.
Fair.
I would say, yeah, probably ahead of JJ McCarthy.
Yeah. Not ahead of 9. 9's ahead of him. JJ McCarthy's lower though.
Yeah, so it's JJ McCarthy, then Bo Nix, and then
Then
9.
9's at the top.
9's at the
Because when you
top.
lock into that 9, like you can't be beat.
That was
Chromie is saying the Cowboys are too high. That's fair. I wasn't going to move them in a bye week because nothing really changed from last week, obviously, because they didn't play. But I do think with their offense that they are.
I mean, they did trade for Quinnen Williams since the last power ranking.
I really want to see how that goes as well. And I do think if you put them power rating wise against these other teams on their tier, it'd be a pick 'em, and then they'd be underdogs to pretty much anybody above them. Now that doesn't hinder your point of they should be lower. I do think they would be on the same spot as these teams among them. But you're welcome to have that opinion. I don't like moving teams down in a bye unless something resounding really changes.
If their QB got suspended for PEDs, would that be a moving down offense?
Who? Dallas?
Like just if any like would that be a way you could move down on a bye?
Yeah, if something big changed.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah, big change to their roster.
Dak just retires.
Had they traded Micah Parsons now at the trade deadline,
sure.
then yes, that'd be a big movement.
Imagine.
I think they'd find their way into the graveyard.
Yeah.
All that being said, like Vegas disagrees with me, and Vegas agrees with Chromie. Do you want to guess the spread for Cowboys at Raiders on Monday Night Football next week?
It's got to be the Cowboys. But given that what you said makes me feel
Cowboys
like
3.5.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'll say Cowboys 4.5.
It's 3.5. Cowboys are
Give me
3.5
that.
point favorites against the Raiders on Monday
In
Night
Las
Football.
Vegas?
In Las Vegas,
So
where
it's-
there's going to be more Cowboy fans than Raiders fans.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's not. Yeah.
It's diabolical.
Is Geno Smith even gonna play? Like, is he gonna be able to move?
I don't know. I hope so.
They'll just prop him up. Who is the
He,
quarterback?
actually, he doesn't have to move because who's rushing the passer?
True. Quinnen Williams.
Donovan Ezeraku.
I wish. I miss Ezeraku. I wish he popped. Wish he just became Micah Parsons. Wouldn't that have been something?
Well, it's a thing of like, I think he'd be performing a lot better if he got a rush opposite of Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
Is the thing of like Shamar Stewart, who has not looked good. I'm not defending Shamar Stewart. That's not looking like a good draft pick. But he has been double teamed at a crazy high rate this season because Trey Hendrickson's been hurt.
Yep.
So the poor guy is a rookie pass rusher, and he's not even that good. But because he's the only even kind of a threat, he's still getting double teamed.
Once the Bengals get Reuben Bain at 11, that'll all be fixed.
If they get Ruben Bain at
if
11,
he falls to 11.
that's
I
ridiculous.
walked you through how he falls to 11 last week. I don't actually think that happens, but I think there's a real chance that if the draft works out right, he could end up sliding.
Edge rusher's too valuable.
I know edge rusher, but it's also expensive, and there are a lot of teams that
When's the
already have.
last time the first edge rusher off the board wasn't top 10?
Oh, jeez. Probably a long, long time. We can actually I'm going to end this because we have multiple. We got to talk about our, what we're going to preview. But I
Yeah,
also
our
am
last step.
curious.
You look at that. Me and JP will start talking about games to preview, and you can chime in.
Cool. And
as
then I
you hear
also have
stuff.
multiple tweets that I bookmark throughout the day that I would like to just.
You
I
can
don't-
run-
they're
you can
just-
run us
They're
by 'em.
funny.
Lions, Eagles,
Yeah.
Chiefs, Broncos,
Okay.
Seahawks, Rams. Those are.
Let's do it. Crazy we
3.
don't do Buccaneers Bills.
We can also do the Buccaneers.
We don't
Bills.
we don't have to, but I'm just like it's after a couple weeks with not a ton of fantastic games. We got some heavy hitters.
Yes.
There you go. Last year,
Cool.
it was 5 quarterbacks in the top 10, 3 wide receivers, and 2 tackles. Edge rusher did not
15.
go until Leatu Latu at 15.
Holy crap, that's a bad edge rusher class. That's
Dallas
actually
Turner.
crazy.
Oh well, you haven't watched
Jared
a lot of
Verse.
Latu.
Jared
Latu's really
Verse.
good.
He is, but prospect-wise, I'm
Sure.
saying, like
Yeah,
going
yeah,
into
yeah,
the
yeah.
draft.
But also Jared Verse has turned out to be very good.
Dallas Turner's
pros-
been fine.
Yeah,
I-
prospect-wise, you are correct. It's just,
Agreed.
it is,
I said that terribly.
yeah,
No, you're right.
but-
Chop Robinson's been a bum, sadly.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Fire name.
Penn State legend.
What other guy? Anyway, so you have to go back a year or
Cool.
2, I guess, depending on how you count your years. But
I still like-
2024,
Still like Ruben Bain to go in the top 10.
I agree. Let's see what I
Do you
had
wish you took Malik Neighbors, Sanders, as a Chargers fan?
over Joe Alt. No,
Both out for the season.
yeah, I had the
Well,
draft.
it would have been different. Malik Neighbors wouldn't have played on MetLife's field.
True.
True. Currently the order: Titans will not take Ruben Bain. Saints will not.
Why
take
wouldn't they?
Because they need offensive line. Cam Ward is on pace to be the most hit quarterback in NFL history.
So who's the offensive lineman they're going to take? Fanu?
It's not a good tackle class
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
in terms of top end.
Then maybe you try and trade out if for a team like the Jets who want their quarterback, or the Dolphins if they decide they want their quarterback. But I don't think you can take. I don't think Cam Ward can survive another year behind that offensive line.
I don't disagree with you. I just
It's-
don't know
no,
if they could take an offensive.
It's an awful spot. I think that's a
At
spot you try and
one.
trade out of.
Maybe they should try winning games.
That too.
yeah.
That too.
Good luck.
Saints won't take an edge rusher. I don't think the
I
Giants.
would love for us to take an edge rusher.
You would take Ruben Bain at 2?
Yeah, that or a receiver.
Well, especially if
I would have y'all going wide receiver. If Shuck works out, I would have y'all taking a wide receiver.
I think we're going to be where 7 or 8
I think
is.
you'd go wide receiver second round. You would take Ruben Bain, and then you'd try and get wide receiver at the top of the second round.
Okay.
I want a playmaker. That's all I want.
Yeah.
We're obviously going to do Mississippi State, Missouri,
Yeah, let me start writing these down.
Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma,
I would like to do that one because I'll be there.
Iowa, USC. Do we go Virginia, Duke?
TCU, BYU.
TCU, BYU's got to be done, apparently.
Okay, Mississippi State at Georgia, Mississippi State at Missouri, Texas at Georgia. What else?
Oklahoma at Alabama.
Oklahoma at Alabama.
Is it TCU at BYU or BYU?
TCU at BYU.
TCU at BYU.
Notre Dame at Pitt is
Is the game day.
I don't
is game
really
day.
want to do that game. Do y'all?
We don't have to after what their coach said.
Yeah,
That
he
was-
doesn't
yeah.
want us to do that game.
Yeah,
anyway.
correct.
Literally. Which sucks
Virginia,
because we were gonna plan to take the podcast there, and he's like, "Well, we don't even care." So.
Virginia at Duke.
Well, I wanna do Virginia at
decides
Duke,
the
yeah.
ACC championship. The one of the other team.
Hopefully Chandler Morris plays. Hopefully Duke loses the game for them. Why'd I gotta look over and see Nico Harrison's face? That should be trigger warning.
Because it's one of the tweets I have bookmarked that's funny.
I think that's good.
And then NFL, what did you decide? Did you already pick?
Yeah, you can rattle them off again.
Rams, Seahawks, Lions, Eagles, and Broncos hosting the Chiefs.
So Sanders copies my playoff prediction. He also copies my Week 10 picks. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Still me picking first in college football. That's huge.
So
No,
you did lose
I-
a game.
I
Let me
had
go
to
ahead and
pick.
put
No,
my
you
picks
copied
in.
my Week 10 picks because I picked first.
You didn't put them in. They weren't in the spreadsheet when
Oh,
we did
you're
the
right.
show.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
So we were joking. I'll show that you were going to go 0 for 3 because you weren't going to get any points.
Ah,
Correct.
Rams, Seahawks, Lions, Eagles, and who Chiefs?
The Denver Broncos go to Kansas City. No, the Kansas City Chiefs go to Denver.
The Chiefs.
I can't find. There we go. And that'll be week 11. Cool. That's 5 college football games. I'll send out the tweet for fan game of the week, but we haven't had someone respond in weeks.
It's also
There's always hope.
It's also Seattle at Los Angeles. Seahawks.
Dude. There we go. Okay, a couple funny tweets. Someone apparently Nico Harrison got fired today, right? 3 days ago,
Yes.
Centel tweeted that he would get fired or was being fired.
Never wrong, just early.
Yeah.
Yep.
Some Vandy Uni tracker tweeted quarterbacks by age and by class, SEC quarterbacks. Zach Calzada was born in 2000. He is the oldest quarterback. Do you know
Shout
who
out
the second?
Zach.
Do you know who the second oldest quarterback is?
Aguilar.
Nope.
Is it Pavia?
No, it's the guy
No.
at UConn.
Nope. No, SEC quarterbacks.
Oh.
But starters, right?
Well, I guess technically this guy's not a starter this week.
What the?
We don't know he's a starter?
We don't
Or
think he's going to be a starter.
Okay, Blake Shapen.
Yeah. Blake Shapen is the second oldest quarterback, starting
Shout
quarterback
out Blakey Blake.
in the SEC. You've also got
Future star of college football.
they had this Diego Pavia. Let me get the correct one because they posted it incorrectly. Apparently, Google lied about Diego Pavia's age. Diego Pavia, Joey Aguilar is the third oldest, born in 2001. Nussmeyer and Pavia, both born in 2002. Chambliss, Taylor Green, Ty Simpson, all 2002. But it was just funny because they tweeted it initially, and they had Pavia, I forget, like born in 2001. And he quote tweeted, it was like, guys, like I was born in 2002, like I'm 23 years old. So apparently
Sure,
Google just lied about his age. But yeah, those are the two things that I've seen while scrolling as JP monologued about NFL teams.
Sure.
We just got the college football playoff rankings. Those were interesting.
What are they?
You want to just walk through them real quick?
Can you pull it up there?
I can pull it up right here. True.
Let me see if I can go off the top of my head. Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, A&M 3, Alabama 4, Georgia 5,
Okay, perfect so far.
You got
Texas
your
Tech
eyes closed? I'll put it
6.
back up.
Correct.
Ole Miss 7,
Correct.
Oregon 8,
Correct.
He looked before. No, I'm kidding.
Notre Dame 9,
Correct.
Texas 10,
Yeah. Texas 10.
Oklahoma 11,
Yep.
BYU 12.
Yes. Yep. That is the top 12.
Bang.
And then honestly, I thought you could have got 13 for sure with Utah.
Yeah, because, they didn't move. I saw it earlier.
I figured.
Now, I
am-
didn't, hone in on it, but
Yeah.
I did.
I am very glad that BYU is not lower, I guess, would be what you would say, even though the number is lower than Utah. That's huge. Massive for our
Yeah.
Cougars.
You kind of knew after they lost that Utah being 13 the week before would really help them because they probably weren't going to drop past Utah.
Yeah. Now
They are out of the field as of now,
correct.
but
And I really didn't expect USF to be the team that was ranked this week.
Yeah, I'm fucking pissed. I won't lie.
I thought JMU might
can
get the
bleep that.
nod.
If you want.
what?
I'm not even gonna
So
post
what,
this as a video, so I can't. I'm not gonna bleep it on the live stream.
Perfect. What? Who'd Miami play last week?
They beat
Syracuse.
Syracuse.
They beat Syracuse.
Yep.
I guess they were already ahead of Georgia Tech, weren't they? Georgia Tech was 18 and Miami was 17.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so never mind. I thought they were flipped. And so I was like, what did Miami do to jump Georgia Tech?
Still, it's not like USF has that win over Miami. They were dominated by Miami.
That was an aside thing. It was something I was thinking
Yeah.
about pre. I agree. I don't know why USF there should be JMU. Go Dukes. So we need USF to lose.
Yep.
Apparently.
Did Texas Tech jump Ole Miss?
They did.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Ole Miss.
Texas Tech was 9. Or, yeah.
Who did Ole Miss play this week?
Old Piss played Citadel.
FCS team.
That's right.
And bullied them. But, I mean, it's Citadel. Fire
Yeah.
campus, though.
Yeah. mean,
It's fine.
No, I'm really mad. How is JMU going to make it without South Florida losing?
They can't, basically.
They literally can't. South Florida plays at Navy this weekend. They're at UAB, feisty. We might have to go to that game and cheer on JMU.
The best hope is they lose the championship game.
They host Rice, and so then they'll play in the championship game.
I will say this in the defense.
Which they're not even guaranteed to make the championship game.
Who, JMU?
It's South Florida. They're in a 5-way tie with 1 loss
That's crazy.
in conference play with Tulane,
So it may not
North
matter.
Texas, ECU. Shout
I
out the
will
Pirates.
say, like, what is JMU's best win?
JMU, their best result is a close loss from an eye test perspective to Louisville. That is their best
What's their best win?
result.
What's their best win?
Their best win is over Liberty, or it's Sunbelt play.
So I think that's
but
why
they're dominating Sunbelt play, and they only lost by 14 to Louisville.
63-27 win against Old Dominion, who people liked. 52-20 over Texas State. You beat Louisiana by 10.
Yeah, but I
beat
mean,
Gata by 25.
Gata by
USF
25.
USF beat North Texas by 27, and North Texas was ranked at one time. North Texas was 7-0, right? Like 6-0, 7.
They never got into the rankings. North Texas never did.
But USF also has
I ranked
USF also has 2 losses.
Yes, they do, but JMU's got 1, and North Texas's 2 losses are to Miami on the road, and then also a close loss on the road at Memphis, who was ranked.
No longer ranked.
No longer ranked.
Yeah, Memphis
But-
is buns.
If Louisville drops another one, then what is it like? That starts to get pretty. I like JMU, and I don't have a horse or a dog in the fight.
Sounds like you do. I'm hearing you're a Bulls fan.
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate over something that I see is a lot closer than JP is making it out to be.
Look, they have one game still that I think might help them. They host Washington State, and Washington State has a 3-point loss at Ole Miss and a 2-point loss at Virginia.
Go beat them. Big.
If they dominate Washington State, that's got to help. But still, I wonder if they said anything about it or if they were even asked.
Sure.
This is BS. They should be sitting there in the 24 spot with USF, if not better. Why is Tennessee still ranked? I
That's
don't
a great
understand
question.
That makes no sense to me. Iowa being ranked kind of makes sense if this was a power rating, but this is rankings. This is merit-based. And the merit that Iowa holds is 2 close losses at home to Indiana and Oregon.
Kind of like JMU.
One's different than 2. At some
JMU
point, you got to
also played
start
on the
winning the
road.
games.
Jamie played on the road. Jamie should have won that game.
Iowa also lost to Iowa State, which I'm not going to say is a terrible loss, but if you want to go in terms of the way the season's gone
It was
for
a
Iowa
different
State.
Iowa State, though, just like it was a different Penn State that Oregon beat.
But I'm talking about Iowa.
Yeah.
Iowa didn't beat.
But they lost to a different Iowa State.
That's fine. You still you have 3 losses. At some point, you got to start winning the games.
Yeah.
I'm all fine for hey, Texas, you scheduled Ohio State. You didn't come up with the win. I'm not going to ding you too much for that. But you got to start winning big games at some point. It'd be like if Texas had lost to Oklahoma, Ohio State, and Vandy.
Yeah.
And then beat all the other teams. It's like, all right, you got to win the bigger games at some point, dog.
JMU must have been 26. That's the only argument here. But the AP poll got it right. And the AP poll, I think, should be the poll for the college football playoff going forward. Because they have JMU at 24 and South Florida at 25. They are the
Sure.
highest rated group of 5 team.
Yeah.
I don't understand the argument for USF being higher than JMU.
Because also think, too, of I feel like this is a metrics-based decision, right? And a strength of record decision, probably.
Yeah.
But they're not necessarily super consistent in that, because if you're going to go by strength of record and stuff like that, for example, why is A&M not 1 with the highest strength of record in the country? But then they get asked about that on the show, and they say, well, when we watch the games, we think Indiana has a better defense and Ohio State has better defense, which I don't disagree with. But when I watch JMU play and I watch USF play, I think JMU's got a great team there. So I don't really get that.
Yeah, A&M should be 2. I don't like that after this weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, South Florida has a 37-point loss to Miami, who has lost to SMU and Louisville, who are one of them is ranked, right? Louisville's ranked. They're at 20. Man, that's a brutal loss. And then they also lost by 3 to Memphis, who's not sniffing the rankings anymore, even though they were technically there last week. I guarantee you that committee is using USF as saying they have 2 ranked wins.
Yeah.
Over number 25 Boise State to start the year and over number 13 Florida. I think that's the only reason they're using that to make that argument.
Which those are fine wins. Are they really ranked wins?
No. Not even remotely close.
I wish football would go to the quadrant system like basketball does.
Because if you're going to say that, then I think you can make the argument for Vanderbilt to be higher than the 3 teams above them in Oklahoma, BYU, and Utah, because Vanderbilt has a win over 11 South Carolina and then 2 ranked wins against Missouri and LSU.
So USF's strength of record is 21, which is like their new metric they made this year.
Mm-hmm.
JMU's is 29th.
That'll change.
Tulane's is 24th. So I really hope they don't choose basically the... I feel like they could easily have a cop out of like, we're just going to go with what the strength of record says in terms of who the group of 5 representative is.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know. I hope they don't do.
It's BS.
Yep.
Because then also Tennessee's 22 in strength of record, and USF is 21.
Wait, who's 22?
It's Tennessee.
And Cincinnati is 20th in strength of record, and USF is 21, and Tennessee's 22.
Tennessee's best win is an overtime win against Blake Shapen.
What do we think?
Who's being benched for a freshman?
What do you think?
He's hurt.
Mississippi State.
Being benched for a freshman. Just make the narrative.
Mississippi State's strength of record, just because I'm curious. Okay, I had to have missed them. They're not that far down.
45th?
47th.
Aura.
1 behind Kentucky, who is 46th in strength of record. Who is 1 behind Kennesaw State, who's 45th in strength of record. Go Owls.
KSU should have more respect.
All right. I think we can close the show.
Yeah, I'm ready to go
get
play
on
some
out of here.
Arc Raiders.
Thanks to all who tuned in. I know there's no one left in the chat, but Chromie especially, thanks for keeping us company, giving us questions and interaction. It always means a lot. And to anyone that is listening to the live stream post being live and somehow made it this far, thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back for y'all Thursday to preview this upcoming weekend of football and give you an update on JP's best bets. See y'all then.
JP's bets.
We'll see.
JP's best bets.
See what the committee says.
Peace.
See ya.